Greg Freeman, Western Australia #1. Greg, you're a long way from home. It's a long way to travel over Mildura for an Australian title. How's your feelings on that?
Oh, it's like anything, we have to travel. We're going to see how we're going because the title next year's in WA, so it's the only way you can really tell. We haven't raced any of these guys for probably 3 years now, so
Yep.
You've got to get some indication where you are.
That's right. Your track's longer than the Mildura one. How's your car going to handle that?
It's going to struggle a little bit. Our track's probably nearly 150 metres bigger than this, so it makes a lot of difference, as in an ours is like twice as wide.
Yep.
So you get a bit more speed and the momentum keeps the car up a bit more. Bigger cars, of course, got a lot more horsepower. It's to their advantage on a smaller track.
All right, very good. Thanks, Greg. Have a good night.
No worries.
Hopefully we'll see you Sunday night. Greg Walling, you're the current Australia one. Match up with great grid positions tonight. You could be the man to toss.
Well, Ben, this Australian title is wide open. We had a great night last night in practice, but all the cars within tenths of a second. So, you know, I'm really happy the car's right up there. We've got our setup pretty good, but time trialing last night's one thing, racing's another. But we hope to have a good run here.
Yep. What preparations have you done for the title so far?
We had a huge season last year with winning the Australian title, Tasmanian title, and had a really good year with the new car. But it's been pretty quiet this year. Haven't run quite as many times, but haven't had that success. We've had a few problems with the car since then that happens from time to time, but we think we've found them just at the right time. It's back to its best, and so I'm looking forward to a great run, Ben.
Oh, who else do you see as the top contenders tonight?
I could rattle off 15 guys that are really top runners there, you know. I mean, you'd never discount the people like the Max Carlins, the Peter Jacobsons, the guys that have been there, done it so many times. They've got the experience, but there's so many fast young guys coming into the sport.
Yep.
So, number of top competitors. I don't look at one particular guy. I'm out there to do the job and race against everybody. Everybody's a threat to me as far as I'm concerned.
Bob Walling, you've been around for a long time. The last time we seen you back at the Mildura track was a few years ago at a very close Victorian title. How are you feeling afternoon?
Oh, not too bad. We haven't had a good run the last couple of years, but had a win in Lismore before we left, and feeling very confident. Got a very good package tonight.
Yep, very good. Being of a mature driver with a wealth of experience, is that needed to end up in the winner's circle, do you think?
I think it's an advantage. Youth and enthusiasm does have some benefits, but old age and skill does have its benefits as well.
Stephen Laidlaw, you're the current Victorian one. You performed well in practice last night. Who do you see as your nearest competition?
Look, I'd say there's about 70 drivers there that can win this Australian title. There will be probably 20 make it to the final. It's going to be very difficult with 7 heats and 12 cars per heat. I suppose Max Carline, Trevor Mills, and the Queensland cars, New South Wales cars, look, they're all very quick cars, the whole lot of them.
For sure.
Yeah.
How's your preparation been to this meeting?
Yeah, not too bad. We won the state title, then we ran the Rushworth 1000, run second at the West Coast Classic. But a couple of weeks ago, we done a head gasket at Rosedale at one of our features there. So yeah, it's been pretty good, I'd say.
Okay, Chris, you have to go in as one of the favourites at the night and highlight of the Australian title. How do you rate your chances?
Hopefully we'll be in there with a reasonable chance. I mean, there's still 70 other cars and they will all be vying for the same position, but I suppose of the locals we're as good a chance as probably most.
Also the new South Australian #1 over in Adelaide a couple of weekends ago. How'd the car go there?
It's coming very well. It's getting together at the right end of the season. It's working very well for us. Got plenty of power.
So you think the car will hold up for this weekend?
Mechanically, it's a pretty tough car. With an odd week and all the tyres, and physically we're as good as the rest of it.
So it should hold up for the 40-lap final, you think?
Hey, that's a hard question. Oh, here's hoping.
Okay, Gary Pager, you're currently Queensland #1 and New South Wales #1. How do you rate your chances for tonight?
With the amount of cars it is, it's going to be very hard to give it a shot.
You've come a long way from Queensland. Well, you know, is it worth the drive down, do you think?
Once a year thing. Yep. Give it a go. We don't get a good to go home. If we do, we're happy.
That's correct. What do you think of Mildura's track?
It's the second time we've been here, and the last time was '89.
Yep.
last time it broke up very bad, and last time it started to break up a little bit. I hope it doesn't do that. It's fast track other than that.
So you think it'll hold up for the 40 lap final?
Maybe. I'm not confident of that.
I just hope that I can go for as long as these guys go for. Mark Pagel on the outside. Graham West, that little Tirana will surprise you. It can fairly fly. The green flags are up and the lights will be on. 12 laps to go for the first. And it's on the outside, 34. Pagel with a pretty good start. But the Bendigo driving. West has got to go all the way. Lost one already. Is there going to be some damage? There will be damage to 3 or 4 cars in that. And have a look at the drag into the Deakin Avenue corner before the light comes on. And we don't want too much damage. Where was Chris Waters? I think he got through that. Yes, the Pennzoil car's there. And I know there'll be a lot of locals riding on our local guys, particularly Chris Waters and Spider McCarthy, the two opposition camps. One in the Holdens, one with the Falcons, of course. Mark Pagel's in a VP Commodore. He's from Gympie. Gary Pagel is also in a VP Commodore from Gympie, the Queensland and the New South. Past the actual, the first corner then, and that's what the boys are going to be a bit keen. The track doesn't look too slippery to start with, but they will be very, very keen. Oh, just hit the fence. Righto, good line as they come out of the Deakin Avenue corner. The green flag is down for a start. It's west away already from Pagel. And Pagel behind him. He's going to have a Pagel sandwich here in a moment. West gone up high. Not quite getting to it. I think it's Gary that's got through and Mark on the inside of him through the Deakin Avenue corner. And very surprisingly, a bit of dust on the track already, so they might need to put some water on that fairly soon. Graham West back to third. Chris Waters in fourth place. Pearson, I think, is a little further back. The local driver. From West Australia in the sector, a little further back. And I'm surprised at the dust already. It's Pagel, I think, coming through the Deakin Avenue. We've lost one down there. Could be Pearson, and we'll catch up with that soon. 34 and 35, 65, was it? That was Pagel, certainly out in front, and the little Tirana trouble running them down. We'll make sure we get the two numbers as they come through this time. The first one is 65, Gary Pagel, and 34, Mark Pagel. West, Chris Waters. Then car number 64 is Gardner, 38 is Sahansky, and the number 4 car will be Ed Pearson, the other one. And Paul Sheen will down 21. Freeman has been for a little excursion on the infield, but back now onto the track. Now they come again with 9 laps left to go, and have a look at these Pagels. I think they are brothers, the two of them, both from Gympie in Queensland, and they're not going to let each other out of the other guy's side. That's pretty close racing down the back straight, and Graham West, the 56 car, the Tirana, the LJ Tirana from Bendigo. I told you he was pretty good. He's hanging right on. In fact, he's going to challenge these guys. Chris Waters in the EL Falcon, the Pennzoil Falcon, another local, the South Australian champion, and he's been followed by another South Australian champion of a couple of years ago in Greg Gardner, but he's a long way back. Have a look at him down there now, passing the slower car, and that's a West Australian champion. I'm calling a slower car, so maybe I'll have to bite my tongue. Still the first three in that order, no changes. Gary Pagel, Mark Pagel, and Graham West. Chris Waters getting around the outside and Freeman okay. No problem there into the Deacon Avenue corner again. We're down to about 6 laps to go. It'll be 5 past this time. It's Pagel, West. They've been racing like that, in fact, a little bit closer for most of the race. And look at West, a little Tirana. It's like a fox terrier. He's going to nip at the heels of these two guys, and don't be surprised if he picks up another placing before the race actually finishes. The Tirana has got more toe than what you would believe. Right on the tail there of Mark Pagel in the 34 car, number 4 on the side. And Mark Pagel now having a go at Gary Pagel. These guys know what it's like to win big titles. They've done it before, down the back straight past the Coca-Cola signs. And 4 laps to go, it'll be 3 when they come past. The other guys have spread themselves right out. I thought they might be a bit closer than that. But these first 3 certainly are going to make a race of it with 3 laps to go all the way to the finish. And keep an eye on the Bendigo car, the little Tirana of Graham West. He's going to hang in there and pressure these guys. The slower car might have something to do with it. 2 laps left to go when they come past. If they get caught up behind Higgs, anything could happen. That's often where guys lose races if they don't pick the right line. Chris Waters, he won't want to finish much further back than this during the night. He is not making up any ground on these guys. In fact, possibly has lost a bit since the start. Now, here's the problem. We're coming down to a bit over a lap to go. They've got to get past Brendan Hicks from Renmark. And Gary Pagel looks like he's got through. Mark Pagel will get through. And Graham West, who dropped back a little bit, is going to have to be satisfied, I think, with 3rd place. In fact, he has got caught behind the other Sigma too, I think it is, down the back straight. The checkered flag will be out in just a moment for car number 65, then 34, and 56. They were the first 3 cars. Chris Waters in 4th place. And as always here at the Timmis Speedway, we will get official placings and times and give them to you with car numbers and names so you know exactly who is who. Righto, we haven't had much of a chance to look at who was down here. Manstead should be on pole. In fact, he's just pulled off. Brock Clifford, Steve Jordan, the car, he'll move up on the pole now as that guy has moved off. Well, they start with him down there. Craig Garlick, Paul Salou, Bob Bailey. They're away, and the 82 car will put Manstead out. Brock Clifford on the outside. Yes, Brock Clifford from Steve Jordan on the inside. We've got Paul Salou from Swan Hill looking to make a move through the inside there. And I can see the car of Bob Bailey. That's a nice, easy one to pick up from the Hume Weir. And is a Storer a little further back? He's not in there. We'll have to get who that is as they come past. It's Brodie Perkins, of course, in the 69 car. And the 19 car of Bailey was Brock Clifford was it further back. We'll catch those up as they come around again past the Deacon Avenue corner and way out in front. It will be the 46 car and Clifford out in front from Paul Salou in 2nd place. And 62 Craig Garlick. That's where we didn't get Brodie Perkins. And we've got one way out in front. There's got a guy coming on now. 95 just coming back on the track. And not sure where he's been, having a little bit of... That was Manstead, the guy that pulled off in the first place. So he's actually come back on now at the rear of the field. And this is a bit of a dark horse, the fellow out in front at the moment. Didn't know too much about him. The 75 car there in Steve Down. And our guy who you won't have in your program, Greg Thompson, well, he's not at the rear of the field. He's in the little car going past the Coca-Cola sign now. That's a guy from Canberra who had to have the car repaired. Brock Clifford still way out in front from Bundaberg in Queensland in the CE Cortina. Paul Salou, he's in the Falcon, a little further back in 2nd place, but having the pressure put on by Garlick is just behind him when they come back around. But Salou, again, a long way behind that first car. Have a look at the numbers when they come through this time. It is car number 62, Craig Garlick, and then Steve Jordan and Ronnie Perkins. Car number 54 a bit further back is what moved up a little. And the race seems to be on with the 3 cars down the back straight. The leading car, Brock Clifford from Bundaberg in Queensland, is sailing around extremely well. This is not a guy we knew much about. Have a look at Garlick coming through on the inside of Salou. Couldn't quite get through there. Paul Salou knows this track pretty well. Raced around in the Commodore. He now drives for a number of years. Got into the Falcon about 12 months, 2 years ago. And we haven't seen as much of him in the last 2 years as we had leading up to that. But it looks like he's still going pretty well. And quarter of a lap down on that first place getter at the stage. Number 22 car on the back. I think it's 92 on the top, isn't it? Is Jordan, 82 on the top, sorry, Jordan from Queensland Way. And there goes the move now with Garlick on the inside. In the 62 car, Craig Garlick has flown through and taken out second place. And Jordan in the 82 car, he wants to come through as well. Steve Jordan in the TE Cortina, he went very well last weekend here on Saturday night. But we've got 4 laps left to go, and Jordan now trying to force the way through on Paul Salou. Oh, there's going to be a battle through the Deakin Avenue corner. Jordan couldn't quite get the car through. A little bit of a nudge. Salou trying to hang on gamely to third place. Back onto the pole line because he doesn't want to lose that one. Meanwhile, out in front, the Junior Weir car that's way back there of Bob Bailey. He's a mile back and may hold up the leading car of Brock Clifford just a little. Not too much of a problem there. 2 laps left to go. 62 is Craig Garlick, and it's still a battle for third place. This time, Jordan around the outside, and he has done it. If he doesn't go up too high, Steve Jordan flew around the outside of Paul Salou after trying for a few laps to get him on the inside. And we've still got 2 laps up there, but I think we've only got 1 to go. Yes, 1, and 1 lap to go now as they come across. That's it. And where are we? It's still the leading car of Brock Clifford. He's a long way out in front. Craig Garlick in second place. He's looking pretty good too. He's not another one of the guys that I would have marked down as a top contender for the weekend. And there goes Jordan past the tail ender. So we've got car 46 in first place. It'll be 62 in second, 82, then 52, and 54. And then Ronnie Perkins and a couple of others coming over the line. Steve Downs was behind him. Parkinson, Phone, Horton and Wilson. Heat number 3 of the Australian Modified Production Sedan title. Green flags up. Have a look at the little car of Ferguson. He's a TE Cortina from Trinder Park in Queensland. And the Townsville car, the Scorpion on the outside. A couple of quick cars back in the field. Oh, look at the bunch of cars going through the corner for the first time. Sullivan in trouble. He's actually lost it and nearly taken out Rob Coward. That'll put him a long way back. Another car spun out back at the rear of the field. Sullivan's got back in there. Where's Martin Horson, the local car? I think we've got a yellow light. Yeah, very shaky start, that one. 1 car still, that could be... No, I won't even try to pick it in the shadows over there, but Wayne Sullivan certainly in trouble. Martin Horson down there, he got past all that. That's well, I'd like to see it play again. And Ferguson to the inside. Look at Bob Walling and the 15 car of Sullivan. They'll be the ones with the more power trying to get through. Walling on the outside, he's gone up high. Sullivan got through the corner okay. He'll nearly come out of this in front. Look at Walling down the outside. He's one of the top runners in Australia. As Bob Walling has won the Australian title 3 times. He won't mind going around the outside. This is looking like being a pretty good race. Wayne Sullivan 15 inside the Scorpion of Ross Bullymore. He's still holding these guys out, so he'll be pretty happy with that. Oh no, he's going to the fence. He's decided to turn right at the wrong time. A couple of others hit the fence. The 42 car down there, that was Ferguson that got into a lot of... He's still somebody else in trouble. Is that Martin Horson with the 70 on the side, way back at the rear of the field. He was having motor problems this week. Wayne Sullivan, Bob Wallings, Ross Bullymore, Peter Jacobson's in there with him. Blackwell, I think, on the outside. Andrew Blackwell. And who's the guy going to the fence on the other side? Didn't pick that one, but we'll worry about the leading cars because they seem to be going all over the place. Martin Horson is back at the rear of the field. The leading car is the leading car of Wayne Sullivan, registered in Wagga Wagga. Bob Walling, 76 is Jacobson. That's Ashley Parkinson in 7, going past the Blackwell car. Oh, 42 is in big trouble now. He's gone right round. Martin Horson has had to do the solo motorbike trick and try to drop the car. They drop with the motorbikes. With these cars, they just go sideways. So the local guy, Horson, doing a pretty good job in actually avoiding that 42 car of Mark Ferguson. Because you go to sit down the next couple of nights and watch the video and you think, gee, I didn't notice that. You shouldn't admit that sort of thing, should you? Now Ferguson, he'll be in trouble because he's lost that spring, as our mechanical expert on the track, Linton, has told us. And he did know that it wasn't out of the lounge suite, so that was fair enough. We've got Sullivan down, recognise the actual, the shape or the colour of the car because the numbers aren't, don't stand out too well from over there. Heat 3. Now, we've had our problems in this heat. Well, certainly Ferguson had his problems. Now, Bob Walling will put the pressure on straight away. He's got a little bit of a dent in the bottom there already, up on the inside of Wayne Sullivan from Leeton. And Walling's gone up. He's got trouble there. He's gone up very high. Now he'll get the car back down on track. Blackmore a little further back there. And we could get a real good race going through this corner. Martin Hawson still back at the rear of the field. Sullivan or Walling. No, Walling a bit further back. It's Jacobson now in second place, of course. And Blackwell back and forth. Blackwell now moving up onto Bob Walling. Bob Walling, of course, the father of current Australian champion Greg Walling. And the other cars a bit further back, not getting a long way away, of course. A couple of Sigmas in there. Mark Fone and Vaughan Manders, but Sullivan opening up a reasonable lead over an ex-Australian champion in Peter Jacobson. He's raced here a lot over the last 10 or 15 years as well as Jacobson. And he's about, 4 or 5 lengths behind Wayne Sullivan at this stage, going into the Deakin Avenue corner. Track looks to be holding up fairly well from up here. I don't see any big ruts and such like. A little bit hard when they were thinking that maybe some rain come down on it, not knowing how much water to put in at the time, but Bob Feld usually manages to get it right. Our local driver, Martin Hawson, not doing too well in this heat, right back at the rear of the field. 6 laps left to go. Sullivan still leading from Jacobson, then Bob Walling. Blackwell through the Deakin Avenue corner. All cars getting through okay. Behind Blackwell, it's Ashley Parkinson, then Tony Wilson, 51, Mark Fone, 77, Vaughan Manders, and Martin Hawson. Each car with their own racing space, and no real problems. Martin Hawson going up very high there at the rear of the field. Will drop down to 4 laps as Sullivan comes across this time. He won the modified feature here a couple of months ago, back in January, I think, at the meeting that I missed. He did Robert Kane second last weekend, so Wayne Sullivan able to handle the Timmis Speedway track pretty well. And he's got to be one of the high chances. In fact, in the Calcutta last night, went for about $35. Would have been a bargain, I thought. At 3 laps left to go, he's still got Jacobson on his tail. Bob Walling, and you can see the paint job on the inside of Walling's car with the light shine on. It's a metallic, deep, iridescent type of red, and where most guys just have a plain silver metal finish, Bob's has painted up better than the outside of most cars. You'll see it flashing the lights as it goes past. Blackwell behind him, then 7 Parkinson. And I don't think anybody making much ground on anybody else at this stage. The guys are all sorted out there racing track and about where they're going to finish. The 1 and 2 cars would be reasonably happy, or they'd be happy, and the 3 car would be fairly happy if he finishes there. Blackwell, who I wouldn't have put up as one of the big runners, he'll be happy if he can get a 4th. You've got to finish somewhere in the top 5, I guess, in every heat to do any good. Bob Walling in a little bit of trouble there, almost lost the place. Sullivan's not going to have any problem coming over for the checkered flag. So we've got Sullivan in car 15, Jacobson in 76, Bob Walling in 33, 25 next, 7 is Parkinson, and Tony Wilson in 5. And we'll get some official placings, but I don't think there should be any problems about where these guys finished. After a bit of a shaky start, all lined up. Now we should get a start this time around. Everybody looks like they're pretty well ready to get these guys underway. And a steady pace out of the Deakin Avenue corner. Let's have a look at Earhart Bridge. We don't know much about that. And at the back, that's, Terry Brown is trying to make a dive for it a little further back. And another guy there moved out wide to his side to go back on the infield. If they get through this corner, they're doing fairly well. Right out front, it looks like Earhart got the jump on them, and Briggs Brown on the outside doing very well. Who's the car on the inside? It's the car number 2, the other Brown. That's Gary Brown. Moldy Calderwood racing along there a little further back. John Mercer, I can see the white, red and yellow car. The number 8 car of Rod Smith is a long way back. Kearney Thompson also a fair way back. And Ron Belshaw is a long way back. The leading car is Earhart from Brown, Terry Brown. Outside is Briggs, and the other Brown on the inside there. And Stephen Laidlaw, the car has been able to pick up at this stage. I didn't seem to see him in the pitch yesterday. He's the Victorian champion. 31 on the top, and car number 30 on the side. We've got the yellow light on because that's it's either Moldy Calderwood or Rod Smith. Our Chief Steward in charge tonight is Max Gillum with the help of Graham Crick. And we're away. Earhart a good start, but have a look at Terry Brown dive through on the inside. The 16 car of Briggs looking for a breakthrough too, and is at the other Brown car trying to move through. The Victorian champion Laidlaw back in 5th place. He's trying to make up. Oh, he'll go through the middle here down the back straight. Had to back off as the 2 sides of the sandwich closed in on him and didn't give him enough room to get through there. Still Earhart from Brown. Laidlaw. Laidlaw now is trying to move into 3rd place. He's doing fairly well too. I've got this guy all weekend. $500 or so if he wins the title. Going into the Deacon Avenue corner, he's certainly running very well. Had a good win at Wangaratta after Trevor Mills led the title for quite a long way. He looks like he's quicker than the two cars in front. He's put the pressure right on them. Oh, and a bit of a clash as the three cars nose to tail. Now Laidlaw has slipped through on the inside of Terry Brown. He's after Earhart. That's the Queensland driver in the VN Commodore. He's lost it. This will wipe out a couple of cars. And 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 all got hit there. And my boy number 31, he got through okay. Went round the outside. And you'd reckon these two guys down in front of us were almost twins. In fact, they've got to be. Look at the paint jobs. If you drive a car of that model, don't leave it parked where you can't see it, whatever you do. For tonight, and some of those tail enders, particularly the guy right at the back, will want that to be bunched up a bit. He's going to pick up a placing already because Ronald's a bit slow. And have a look at Terry Brown. He's been a little bit of a dark horse and right up on the pace as he goes through on the inside looking for a first placing out of that first corner. But Earhart is good enough on the outside to keep him back there. John Purser back in third place. Kearney Thompson's right up there with him in fourth. And the twin cars, Calderwood and Smith. Now it's Calderwood, I can pick him easily because he's got that big piece hanging off the back. But we'll go back to the lead as they go past the clubhouse again. And yes, we've got a change. Down the back straight, it is Brown who's out in front. So the Murray Bridge driver doing very well through the Deacon Avenue corner at this stage. And Earhart, if he's got that flat tyre on the inside, will be finding a little bit hard. Purser, Kearney Thompson, and the 31 car of Laidlaw is right back up there in the pack, but he's got 2 or 3 cars to try and get through, and they're staying fairly well punched up, so he might have a problem getting through there. Moldy Calderwood right with him. Rod Smith just behind Calderwood. And now we've got Laidlaw going around the outside, looking for a way round. I don't know whether he's going to be able to do it. Up high, around the outside of Earhart, and the West Australian car of Purser at the moment. So he's back into third place behind Kearney Thompson. And right on the tail of Kearney Thompson. Still 5 laps left to go. So he could do pretty well from the rear of the field here. I think he'll pick up another placing, move into second place out of the Deacon Avenue corner. So keep an eye on the 31 car, the Victorian champion of Stephen Laidlaw with 30 on the side. It's a big one car. The VK Commodore is in second place. The car in front is an XF Falcon of Terry Brown from Mount Barker with the South Australian Speedway Drivers Association. I think I said Murray Bridge, but actually a South Australia registered car. Same thing you might think. Going into the clubhouse corner, and this time Laidlaw on the inside. He's going very, very well on the inside of Brown. Can Brown hold him out? Purser almost clipped the fence. Laidlaw back right off to let Brown go. He hasn't got too many laps left to go now. It'll be down to through when they come past this time. Right on the pole line, up high now as they do down the straight, trying to go around the outside. Is Laidlaw going to have the pace? I think he has. Right to the fence. He smacked the fence. He's going to lose a couple here, and he smacked the other car. That's Kearney Thompson. John Purser's going to pick up another place on him. The white lights will be on and the white flag out for 1 lap left to go, and they come past this time. He's dropped back to third place. Purser in fourth with a bit of a bang in the front of the car. A little bit of damage starting to show. And keep an eye on the Victorian champion. He's looking to get back at least to second place. He's gone up high past the Coca-Cola signs into the Deacon Avenue corner. He's right on the tail of Kearney Thompson from Bendigo. I don't think he'll pick up the placing though. It's 39. Brown, Thompson, only just. In, what's Thompson's number? 44, I think. Then the 31 car of Laidlaw. And in fourth place would have been a Purser, I think. John Purser in the... Righto, official placings. We should nearly have them there now, I think. No, still coming with paperwork flying now. And we will go straight to the next heat, which is race 5, heat 5, as the boys work out who everybody was. A bit of local interest here. Cole Beasley on pole in the VK Commodore. Outside him was 37, Jeremy McLuhan. Not much paintwork on Jeremy's car tonight. Spider McCarthy, one back. Neil Watson, a regular here at Mildura. Nick Dotting, he's a Murray Bridge driver from So ready for a start. A lot of local interest. A lot of guys here who race regularly at the Mildura track. 22, Cole Beasley with a good start. Jeremy McClure on the outside. Neil Watson doing pretty well as well. Spider McCarthy on the inside, still running third, fourth place. can take your pick. Definitely third place at the moment. Cole Beasley leading into the Deakin Avenue corner for the first time. There'll be a lot of support riding on Cole. Both he and Spider McCarthy have done a lot of work to get this title together. Spider in second place. Well, third place. Jeremy McClure now living at Wilcannia and registered at Gilgandra, I think it was Cobar, a little while back. Coming through now, Neil Watson trying to move up. Gee, a good race between these guys up the front, and that'll be Ben Element, the rest of West Australian car right there with him. I won't worry about the guys a bit further back at this stage. Look at the two local boys out in front. Cole Beasley on the outside. Peter Spider McCarthy on the inside. His best finish in Australian time has been number 2. He has also been number 3. He's had some bad luck in big titles. He's won a lot of state titles, Victorian and South Australian. On his home track, he hasn't had a good year, but he would certainly be hoping for a good run in this particular title. Spider McCarthy, Cole Beasley, Neil Watson, Jeremy McClure, Ben Element. That was the Thompson, I think, the guy a little further back, and a couple of fellas at the back having a race all of their own. But I'll watch the first 3 or 4 cars. That's where the interest is. Through the Deakin Avenue corner again, and nobody takes this track better than Spider McCarthy once he gets there. Oh, the little guy from West Australia is at Thompson. No, it's a Queenslander Thompson from Maryborough in Queensland. He took a shortcut. Somebody else is still off the infield down there. Now he's going to get back on. Oh, this could be interesting. Stay up high, mister. He's going to do that. That's usually where Spider McCarthy runs, actually, is up high. Spider McCarthy in car number 6 from Neil Watson, Cole Beasley, Ben Element, Jeremy McClure, Thompson, and car number 4 there, Mark Deckett from Horsham. And the car right at the rear of the field is Chris Matthews from the Ballarat Club, lives at Wendouree. And what have we got here? Going past just a slower car, and he's been told that he is being passed. That's the other car with 6 on the side, which is Chris Matthews. And it looks like Spider's got some opposition there, but that's not really the case. And at this stage, in second place is Neil Watson in the 17 car from Cole Beasley in the 22, the Auto Pro car. Ben Element from Western Australia, a little further back. That other car down there still being lapped. Cole Beasley in third place. That's Spider McCarthy. He's well out in front. Looks like doing it pretty comfortably with 5 laps left to go. It will be 4 when they come past us this time. The only flags being showed down there are the overtaking flag to the 96 car. So if you think that somebody's getting a warning or a black flag, don't panic about that. It's just to let that guy know to keep his line because he's been overtaken. As Watson is overtaking him right now. Still Spider McCarthy from Neil Watson, and Neil Watson from Horsham, actually in the Ballarat Club with the VR Commodore. Spider McCarthy in the VK Commodore. Cole Beasley, another VK Commodore, I think that one, in third place. From Mildura, well, from Redcliffe, so if you want to get real dandy, it's from Thurler, out on the line road towards Wirral. So what have we got? The 3 laps left to go. Spider will coming to make it down to 2 laps this time past. And I don't think the second car in Watson is going to put too much pressure, but a lot of pressure on Cole Beasley with the 18 car Stephen Thompson from Maryborough, and the other guy, Ben Element, he's got a Queenslander and a West Australian right on his hammer. So Cole Beasley won't want to slacken off too much there. Watson's still in second place. He's a long way ahead of the third place car. This is where the battle is at the moment. 1 lap left to go. Can the Queenslander or the West Australian pick back the local guy, Cole Beasley? Oh, watched off a little bit of speed that time. Seemed to get around too far. Now a nudge on the inside. And we've got trouble down the back straight. That's lost Thompson. He's in all sorts of problems. A checkered flag goes out to Spider McCarthy. Then 17. And Cole Beasley still in third place. The 18 car in fourth. And a bit of a mess as they came across the line then.
Fly ground's gonna shake the night. You don't have to look far, 'cause it's right here in your backyard. There's 100 tracks across our land they call home.
Looking for a start, and the Renmark president will be hoping for a good start in his first heat, but it's a car on the outside from Cairns of Wayne Miles in the EA Falcon who got the good start. And he's, yes, right around the outside of Bruce Road. This first corner they all need to get through first. Marty Rounds. Oh, we've got trouble. Rod Brady, and he's in all sorts of trouble. We nearly got one tipped over on the infield. Wow, that was interesting. And Rod, gee, these cars that I bought in the Calcutta, they all seem to be getting into trouble somehow or other. In fact, Paul Durham's car was actually on display this morning down at the riverfront. Let's see if we can get a... Well, we got a good start. It was down the back straight that we had all the problems, and that put Rod Brody right back at the rear of the field. So they're away this time into the first corner, and again it's that car of Wayne Miles. Got a good start. Oh, it's a good big bunch going down the back straight. Do they straighten up Brady up near the fence again? He seems to like that fence. Have a look at Max Carlin in the Cortina trying to pick up a few placings on the inside of Rams. Bit of smoke from the car of Rod Brady. Still miles out in front of car 86, Jason McKinnell. This looks like the I think somebody might have just blown the motor. Was that Miles? Something went back and a lot of smoke out the back, but we'll find out. Have a look at the batch of cars past the Coca-Cola sign. And they're going left, right, and every which way and loose, I think. It's still out in front, Wayne Miles from Jason McKinnell. Carlin up in third place. Well, who's in fourth? It could be Rams. It could be Bruce Rope. It won't be the car that just went for the fence. And slipping through is Rod Brady, I think, just picked up half a dozen positions there. A nice little move as the other guys were all having a battle. Well, this is one of those races you don't really know which end of them to watch, because have a look at the three cars at the rear of the field. Now, that's racing the way we like it. In fact, there'll be four of them. And at the same time, McKinnell's in trouble at the front of the field. Came back and lost Carlin. I told you to watch this guy. He slipped through in the first place. McKinnell in second. Miles. And is that Marty Rams right up there pressuring the big guys? Let's have a look when he comes across. I'm sure that's Marty, the only red car in the field. That is Marty Rams doing very well against some pretty good opposition down there. But the other end marked driver, Bruce Rope, is now back at the rear of the field. Miles has got smoke coming out of the car and he's dropped back a fair way now. Max Carlin in the Cortina. He's running first and Miles dropping further and further back. He's gone. 86 is Jason McKinnell in the VK Commodore from Hillsville. He's a member of the Alexandra Club. I think probably the only car from the Alexandra Club that we've got here. Down the back straight, and is that Miles finally pulled out? It looks like it could be him. Just, what have we got, about 7 or 8 cars left in it. Max Carlin with the pressure being put on by 86 McKinnell. 32 Anthony Christie. I hadn't called him before in this particular race. A little behind him is the red mark driver, Marty Rams. And a bit further back, Rod Brady trying to get past the car. There he goes now with a big dive and a big clash, and I think it might put them both out. Over the end, and into the fence. Bruce Rofe left the ground as Rod Brady came. That was overall the other car. As Rod Brady came to underneath Bruce Rofe, and Bruce was soaring there. That's a little bit like Vaughan Manders performed last night. We will get a restart with 5 laps left to go, and Max Carlin in the TE Cortina out in front. He knows what it's like to win titles. He's done it before, been there, done that. Max Carlin leads from car number 86, Jason McKinnell. A little further back, Anthony Christie. Then Marty Rams, Chris Overall, and Rod Brady, as I thought he may be, back at the rear of the field. So, Rod, if you're going to keep being put rear of field, you're going to be pretty hard-pressed to make my money for me. Through the Deacon Avenue corner, no problems there. They're all spread right out. Rod Brady catching up to the 2 guys in front. I don't think he likes running last. He's been a pretty good competitor for a number of years. Lived in Broken Hill for quite a while before moving to Adelaide, and when at Broken Hill used to race down here at Mildura on a regular basis with the McClure boys, of course. Through the Deacon Avenue corner, and I don't know if Max Carlin's going to have too much trouble holding McKinnell out. Christie in the 32 car does seem to have a fair bit of pace. He's right on the tail end of that car in front of Jason McKinnell. Not enough power down the straight to close the gap. I think he's hoping that McKinnell might break just a little quicker than he, and he can slip through. It's often a matter of tactics, who hits the brake first and who just takes the wider turn into the corners. The track looks like it's getting a little bit dark. They should be getting a fair bit of traction on it now. And no water on for a while. The dust, of course, has been moved off the top. And have a look at the battle down the back straight for second place. 1 lap left to go, and they come past this time through the Deacon Avenue corner. It's still Max Carlin out in front from Jason McKinnell, Anthony Christie in the 32 car. Chris Overall in 4th place. They've spread out now. Marty Rams a little further back. And it looks like my boy Rod Brady has decided he's just going to cruise around on a Saturday evening drive. It's not all over yet for the first 3. McKinnell's going to lose it, and that's forced. I think that'll be okay. It forced the 32 car of Christie onto the infield. Wasn't his fault though. But number 12 car on 32. Well, I think it was 32 on the roof as well. I think we better check that one actually. Yes, 32. And 3rd place would have ended up as McKinnell with 86. And I think Overall, Chris Overall on the 23 car may have ended up there in 4th place. For Launceston in Tasmania, a couple of Tasmanians here. Neil Moss, that's the ex-Dave Redmond car, which won the Australian title a few years ago. David Jacoby and Trevor Mills at the rear of the field. And have a look at the number 10 car of Trevor Mills go. Darren Allen, now Darren, can you out-drag Greg Walling down the main straight? Most probably not, but if you stick with him for half a lap, we'll give you a pat on the back. Greg Walling up like Barry Hill wants to go around with him. And a look at Darren Allen. He's going to take on the Australian title holder. He says, this is my track, Greg, and I'll show you how to spin out and cause trouble. And all smacko, bit of trouble. Well, if ever I saw a guy get a rush of blood and think, well, I can take on this best car in Australia, this is my track. And I think, Darren, you went just a little bit too hard in the MAE car. Good formation this time. And away they go, and Walling should get a good start. 22 Jolly on the inside, both from the Lismore club. Jolly on the inside, going to stay with going up high. Jolly getting out wide. That'll allow the other car there to come through on the inside. Barry Yule's right up there with it, and that car on the inside must have nearly been... couldn't pick it up. They're going all over the place. It's the 47 car of Paul Egan, of course, one of the top runners here in the field. A couple of cars off the fairway back here. Looks like the Drew Mill staying right up to the back. A lot of them going close to the fence. Darren Allen a long way back at this stage. Through the Deakin Avenue corner, it's still the Australian champion, Greg Walling, out in front of Egan, 47, number 97. There's the other Tasmanian in Craig Williams. Barry Yule, another Tasmanian back there with him. Barry going up high now. Looks like Jolly a little further back in the 22 car. Well, 22 on the side and 24 on the top. She'll be a quick race, this one. I think they might be nearly ready for a track maintenance with a couple of bumps there. Greg Walling opening up a little bit of a lead, and we've lost one. That's Greg Storer, the local driver at the rear of the field, and he's going to get the foot down and keep going. A local footballer with the Merbean Club, Greg, in the 27 car with McClure on the back, one of our another local driver. Greg Walling from Paul Egan, 97 is Williams, 22 is Jolly, 4 is Barry Yule, number 12 going through there was Dustin Horn in the fair way back. Right at the back of that field is Neil Moss. Millsy wants to make up a few positions here. He can drop one over the weekend, but he would prefer to save that up if he can. He'd like to finish up in the first 4 or 5. Darren Allen just circulating around the top of the track. He obviously has a bit of a problem with the Commodore. It's a BK Commodore. Now Darren's going in field, so he's out of the race. And this will be Storer. He's at the rear of the field. Walling, who is leading the race. He's got a good lead over number 47, Egan, then 97, Williams. Then it's 22, Jolly. Mills is right up there on the inside of the Tasmanian, Barry Yule. Can he pick up another placing? He's down about 4, 5 or 6 at the moment. They've got to get past Greg Storer. He might hold them up a little bit. They're giving him the overtaking flag. Walling well out in front. The next 2 cars, 47 and 97, is Egan, and we've got somebody in trouble back at the other end again. Thanks, Justin. Car pulled up on the track, and he's going to stay on the track just as I thought we were getting a pass there, but it was just past the slower car of Greg Storer. It's a nice big hotel on that mountain, overlooks the valley on the, I think, the northern side of the mountain. And away we go. Greg Walling out in front. 47 Egan making a move on Greg Storer already now. Greg Storer would probably do well just to move up a little bit to the higher part of the track and let these quicker cars get through. He's not officially allowed to actually race with the cars because he's a lap down. Once he gets to the back of the field, then he can chase them, of course, but he can't cause any obstruction to those other cars. Greg Walling, Paul Egan, 97 is Williams, 22 Jolly, Millsy in there, Yule and Dustin Horn having a real battle by themselves, going past the mid gates now. All a couple of bumps appearing on the track there. One of those cars jumped just a little through the Deakin Avenue corner, still out in front. Our leading car, and he looks like he's handling it pretty well too, with the number 1 on the top. Australia 1, Greg Wallings. Egan, who has been Australia 2, is running in 2nd place. And we've lost another one right at the back of the field. Was that Jacoby in trouble back there? A bit of a spin, a bit of fun by himself. The Southwest Metals car. And nobody... Oh, Greg Storer, what are you doing on the other side of the track? He's trying to damage the Cavs Car Centre sign. Barry Clark will be on your case.
His car, we're not really sure what's wrong with it. I asked Darren what the problem was, and he seems to have lockjaw. He doesn't want to talk about it, so I think it's just a bit of, well, we can see there's a bit of damage on the front, but just a steering problem, but I think he'll be able to sort that one out. I'll go over and find out what's wrong with the 27 car, and we'll report back on that later.
Be careful what you say to Greg. He's about 3 times bigger than you. And what Darren was probably trying to say was send Alan Collins down here to drive my car again. It's more like street stock racing. And have a look at this car in 2nd place at the moment. Right on the back of Walling. Not going to give him an inch. And yes, it's Egan right on there, and the 97 car is Craig Williams a little further back. He's doing pretty well for a guy we didn't know too much about. Hanging right in. Walling definitely has a bit more power, but down the back straight is Egan trying to get through, got the nose up, and as he's been told by the chief steward, you must back off. If the other guy's got more than a certain amount of the car in front, what's the pole line? He's got the pole line. Somebody else taking a shortcut. Jacob, he's had a lot of fun out there. He's run through a field, but he's done all sorts of things. He's even going to pass somebody now. Back with the leaders. There'll be only one lap left to go when they come past this time. And I think Greg Walling has probably deserved this win. He's had to do it the hard way. Then 47 Egan, then 97 Williams. Millsy's got up there. Barry Ewell, Neil Moss, Dustin Horn, Jacoby, and Jolly in that lovely looking car is right back at the rear of the field at this stage. Probably no doubt about the winner unless something happens. But boy, we've got to have some changes in the minor placings and have a look at Millsy come through. So we've got car number 1, 97, no, 47 and 10. Well, Trevor Mills did finish up 4th, so that won't be too bad for a rear of the field start in a full field. The 11 car started, Millsy at the rear of the field, and has finished in 4th place. So Darren Saharsky will have a big job if he wants to jump Max Carlin at the start. The track a bit slippery, it's going to be a little bit dubious going out wide to try and take him right down the outside. Good big field of cars for Heat 8, Heat 1 of round 2. Carlin with a good start. Saharsky right with him. Car number 54 is Ron Watts in 3rd place. Watts will go onto the inside. John Purser back there looks like he's dropping back a fair way. Watson, I think, has moved up. Yes, it was Neil Watson moved up there. It's very embarrassing when you get the wrong car in the wrong heat, actually. A few bits of bunches and bumps and such like going through there. There was Jacobson going right round the outside. Steve Jordan was on the inside of him in the Cortina. He's running forward. Jacobson is not frightened to taking the outside line. They're very close to the outside fence. But look at Carlin in the Cortina out in front. You'd reckon that track was absolutely dry and perfect. It can't be too slippery the way he's going. 54 is Ron Watts from Leeton in 2nd place, and Carlin leaving them all for dead. It could be an interesting race between the rest of them. I can see Purser back there. He seems to be dropping back. It's Watts up there as well. Saharsky hasn't dropped too far back. I think that's him in 3rd place. Watts is in 2nd. Saharsky, Jordan, a bit of a coming together with Jacobson. Neil Watson a bit further back. Steve Downs, the 75 car, also back there. And look at Max Carlin. Is he looking good for the title? Way out in front. None of these guys will catch him. Have a look at the way that Cortina's cornering. The number 12 car out in front. Watts in 2nd place. Saharsky still holding down 3rd from Steve Jordan from Queensland and Peter Jacobson, the Victorian. Those 3 guys are going to have a battle before they finish. Ready to go down the back straight. Jordan on the inside of Saharsky. He'll take him through the Deacon Avenue corner, but Saharsky says no. He's going to hang on to that line. Jordan has got the nose in front. Jacobson looking for a way through as well. Jordan came out of that vest. Jacobson also through on the inside of Saharsky. A little bit of a nudge as he went through there. Saharsky now has dropped back to, 5th place. And I think that will be Downs behind him. Then Neil Watson and the West Australian John Purser. It's almost half a lap. It's a good quarter of a lap now that Max Carlin's got on Ron Watts. And Steve Jordan, the Queenslander, is closing that gap. He's trying to pick up a 2nd place here if possible past the Coca-Cola signs. And Jacobson, he's 3 or 4 car lengths behind. Not right on there, ready to pounce as yet, but Jordan certainly is. If Watts makes any sort of mistake, Jordan will be down on the inside. Where's Carlin? He's a mile away. Keep an eye on the 2nd and 3rd car. That's where the action is, down the back straight on the inside of the Queenslander. And Jacobson now right up with those guys. He's on the outside. The other car on the outside is Watts. I think he might nearly have dropped that position to Steve Jordan. Not quite. Jacobson's going to persist with the outside line for a little while. They nearly squashed Jordan between the 2 of them. It's still Watts out in front from Leeton. Steve Jordan from Roma in Queensland, back in 3rd place. Peter Jacobson from Corowa, he's in 4th place. And in the meantime, Max Carlin's on a Sunday drive out there. He's doing this very, very comfortably. And boy, is he looking good for this title. Down the back straight this time. Jordan just doesn't quite have the legs to catch up to Watts. He can catch him, but he can't pass him. Jacobson's waiting for, and a nudge from Jacobson. That won't go down too well. He's going to go on the outside, Jacobson. Back on the inside. He just can't pick the line. He's got 2 of them to get past. If he gets one, I reckon he'll get both of them. But Watts seems to just be holding him up a bit and has some power down the straight. 1 lap left to go for Max Carlin, who's out in front in the TE Cortina. In second place, it's still Watts from Jordan Jacobson. Then it's Downs, and a battle back here a little bit further. 18 is Thompson for Saharsky, Neil Watson. 32 is Christie, and 59 will be John Purser. The last corner now coming into it. The Deacon Avenue end of the track. The checkered flag is out for Max Carlin. The minor placings won't change. It will be 54. 82, I think, is on the top of that car. I keep looking at the side of it. And number 12, of course, was the first place. And in the excitement, I've forgotten who was fourth across there. It would have been Peter Jacobson, of course, in car number 76. Good race. A good race. It holds together for the next 6 races. This heat, of course, sponsored by Septone Car Care. This is race 9. Heat 2 of round 2 of the Australian Modified Production Championship, and it's sponsored by Septone Car Care. Don't forget, we'll be back here again tomorrow night for 14 heats and the final and the consolation of this event with some AM cars running as well. They're away, and look at Walling round the outside. He's going to try and take them all on before the first corner. Well, he got up there a bit, not quite. This will be a battle. Chris Waters and Greg Walling. Chris Waters, a South Australian champion in the Falcon, and Walling in the Commodore. He's a Tasmanian and Australian champion. What a race it'll be. Behind them, Greg Gardner, then 24, Jason Jolly. Number 5 is Pagel, a little further back. Paul Saloon. I'm not going to add what championships they've won because I'd be taking me half an hour to commentate on each lap, because I reckon every one of them's got a state title under their belt at some time or other. Chris Waters has gone out wide. Walling's going to stick to the pole line. This could get exciting. The Pennzoil car in front of the Kibbles car. The Pennzoil car hanging on at the moment with the local guy. And I'll bet the crew are down there getting fairly excited. They know that if he can beat Walling in this heat, he's in there with a chance, because Greg Walling is the pace setter and has been for a little while. It's Chris Waters from Greg Walling. Greg Gardner in 64, Jason Jolly, 65 is Pagel, Paul Salou, Trevor Laidlaw, Cole Beasley, and Mark Phone a little further back. And as I said before, poor old Ron Belcher, he won't know what's hit him in this heat. He's racing down there with the best cars in Australia, and he's had trouble getting his car on the track this season. Chris Waters just maintaining that 1 car length between himself and Greg Walling. In fact, the 1 car length is closed right up to almost a bumper bar in it there for a while. And I think the race is getting just a little bit too exciting for me now. Chris Waters from Walling. Have a look at the 2 cars a little further back. Greg Gardner now in front of Jason Jolly, and the yellow light's on. So what have we down?
Chris Waters has lost the wheel, but look at that, Alan. Oh. The wheel head towards the fence, and Chris Carr sort of come to a good stop. Of course, losing a wheel in that situation, you're fairly lucky to just stay on
That's the problem that Chris Waters has actually had for the last, I don't know how many years. I'd say Chris Waters has lost more wheels while racing than any other driver I've seen. And that won't be a very popular thing to happen with the crew, because, wait on, he's off again. There's something up on the track, isn't there?
Oh, it might have been another car that lost the wheel, Alan.
There's another car down there. There is another car stopped.
Chris Waters
Let's hope it
in
wasn't
a very
Chris.
big hurry, so maybe he stopped to avoid the other car.
Maybe he saw it. And it was a great race too, the final of that. You got Paul Salou, 1 up there, and then Gary Pagel holds 2 state titles. They've all got state titles. I had them, Justin, so it's a pretty good field of cars. Righto, Waters with a good start then, so he's maintained the lead. Nothing has changed for Chris Waters. Greg Walling, he punches right up in the corner. He caught it very well, does Walling. And then Chris Waters with a bit more grunt down the straight. That opened it up to a car and a half between the 2. And into Deacon Avenue corner, Walling not quite closing it up this time. Down the straight, have a look at the difference. The Falcon, wouldn't open up as much that time. Walling seems to like the clubhouse corner. He closes the gap. Only a couple of metres between them. Down the back straight, didn't change. Walling changing his tack. He's gone up high. Going to try to dive down on the inside of Waters. He's going to hang right onto that pole line. He knows Chris Waters goes up high. This will be a battle. Greg Gardner is back in 4th. Jason Jolly now in 3rd. Gary Pagel back in 5th. Also a little further back. Trevor Laidlaw behind him. And I don't think we'll worry about the others. Let's go back to Waters and Walling. The 2 W's down there, the Victorian and the New South Welshman. And Chris just maintaining that lead. There's 4 laps left to go. Can he hang on? He doesn't want anything to go wrong. As I said, this is one he's got to win, and I'd say Walling believes this is one that he's got to at least get a second, and he's trying to dive down on the inside. He got the opening, couldn't quite get there. This will be an interesting corner. Walling's got the car up on the inside of Waters. Still couldn't do it. He's got, 3 laps left to go. He's going to try everything. Chris Waters has gone up wide, gives Walling the chance to come through on the inside down the back straight. Greg Walling dropped the nose up there. Chris Waters is going to have to let him go through because Walling has just got that little bit far in front. I don't think he'll quite get there side by side down the main straight. Walling now has the edge. He's on the inside. Waters will be looking for extra traction, and then Blood will really be rushing with these 2 guys now. Chris back in front. He's got the ascendancy again. Past the Coca-Cola signs into the Deacon Avenue corner. Chris Waters, a local driver, the South Australian champion, just holding off the Australian one and the Tasmanian champion. 1 lap left to go, and still Chris Waters in the EL Falcon from Greg Walling, the Australian champion, and that other guy's caught up. That's Gardner. Half a lap left to go for Chris Waters, and I reckon the final's going to be pretty much like this too. Through the Deacon Avenue turn, Waters will hang on, I think, in car number 9. Chris Waters in first place from Greg Walling, and it wasn't Gardner, it was 22. Jason Jolly, then it was Gardner, and boy, what a race was that one. And I know Gardner's side number 17, wasn't quite sure what the roof number was as the other guys. We forgot all about that.
Great drive between
he had to work for that.
The Ford and the Holden out there, Alan. I think the Ford fans will be up clapping and cheering by now.
Walling got it all written down so we know what's what. And they're not going to give me much chance of that. They're going to be away pretty quickly. And let's see how the West Australian champion goes this time. Didn't do too well the first time out. And the little Sigma on the inside, but Ronnie Perkins on the outside of him. He's dropped back already, right in behind him. Graham West got third. I remember in his first seat, Craig Garlick down there too. Racing around the outside is Barry Yule. I think that is the Tasmanian. Looks like he's trying to pick up a couple of placings through the Deacon Avenue corner. And this time the West Australian guy in car 21 is doing much better from Ronnie Perkins West, Craig Garlick, Barry Yule. The one with 76 on the side is Ian Grimm. Somebody with a bit of a backfire down there. Story over there somewhere, Briggs, and it looks like Thompson didn't get to take the field. So back with the leaders. And once again, we've got a leading car out fairly clearly in front. Have a look at the battle between Ronnie Perkins and 62 Garlick. Graham West in 56, just behind him there. It's Craig Garlick in 62. Past the pit gate. A bit of a coming together almost. A couple of cars back in about 4th and 5th, and the car back at the rear of the field going to have a close look at the fence. And not sure just who that was. We'll catch him as he comes past. The leading car, the Sigma, is way out in front. And this is not Jacoby again, is it? Surely. I know it is our old mate. It's Thompson. I don't know why I didn't see him before. Must have been hiding down there somewhere. But Greg Thompson is down there, the guy from Canberra. Didn't pick him up at all before. Out of the Deacon Avenue corner, it's still Greg Freeman, the West Australian champion from 62 Garlick. Then it's a West from Barry Yule. And a little further back would be there is Brims. I think yes, Barry Yule just in front of Brims. Brims looks like he's trying to take him over now. Ronnie Perkins has dropped a long way back. I think Storer is a fair way behind him. So a passing manoeuvre going on, coming through the Deacon Avenue corner now. That was Brims on the inside of Yule. Ronnie Perkins back a little further. Then it's Briggs from West Australia and Storer and Thompson from the ACT. Brims trying to make up a few points now down the back straight into the deep. Oh, a big thump there on the leading car, and I hadn't noticed that they caught him so much. The number 21 car has lost with, 6 laps left to go, lost that big lead, and this guy, he's over! There goes the West Australian, 1, 2, 3 times. And I don't know that the guy behind him will be getting any pats on the back for that. That was a spectacular rollover for the leading car of Greg Freeman. That car absolutely flew. Reminded me of the sportsman down at Thunderdome last year that flew 18 times, I think it was, in midair. Not quite that many, but that was getting fairly ferocious, the battle for the lead there. I'm not sure which one of those cars it was that seemed to. It could have been Brims, who was getting very, very keen to get through. Very, very strong roll cages. They've got all the gear. And just give him a couple of ticks up him out of the car and you'll get the wave. That would have been a bit of a frightening experience because he would not have known which way was up and down there for a short time. And it sounds like he is out of the car. Yes, there he goes. A long way to drive to do something like that. He's okay, no worries. This time, have a look at the lineup. And the other guy's going up very high. I think that's why he's, yes, very, very similar start. But I think it's because Brims is actually going up very high and the other guys don't want to go with him. The green light's going to stay on this time. It's Brims from West, Craig Garlick, Barry Yule. Then it'll be the West Australian driver in Paul Briggs a little further back, and we're going to lose one down there. We might lose a couple. Oh, smack! Yes.
Greg Storer and Graham West, I think, down there, Alan.
Graham West is a little guy, and I bet he hasn't seen how big Greg Storer is. I don't think he had much control, though, when he backed into him like that. Yes, I think Graham actually got carted around a little bit that time.
Well, maybe Linton was a forecaster. 27 probably has got steering problems now. He's hunted him down, Al.
But they're about to start, so we won't worry about the guys out. We've only got 5 cars left in here. It's still Grims now, Barry Ewell, Briggs, and look at this, our number 63, mate, 83 on the roof. Greg Thompson from Canberra is actually running 4th. And he was supposed to start in about position 11th for this one. Well, he's not going to stay 4th very long if he keeps that up. Craig Garlick back there with him at the rear of the field. What have they got? 5 laps to go, and they come through. It'll be Brims from Ewell, Briggs, Garlick and Thompson back at the rear of the field. Yes, just under 5 laps now to go. And I don't know what happened to Brims in the first heat, but he certainly has fired up and has got that VN Commodore really motoring along now. Nice cornering there. He's worked out that if he goes up about the middle of the track, it might be a little bit further around, but it certainly hangs on fairly well up there. Barry Ewell from Lilydale in Tasmania in the Cortina. He finished about 6th in the Australian title at Murray Bridge 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, 3 titles ago it will be. Craig Garlick has now picked up the place on that West Australian driver, Briggs. He's now up in 3rd place in the car 62. Briggs in 26, and that's a little blue thing in the back there, which is another one of the Sigmas from Western Australia. He's from Collie over in the west. Spread themselves out now, and poor old Greg Thompson, he's right back there at the rear of the field after Bob Fell rebuilt that car for him during the week. He's had an interesting stay in Mildura, right on the pole line, but he's a long way off the pace now. Group's an ex-Australian champion with a couple of laps left to go, perhaps just 1.5. I don't think he'll be worried too much by Barry Ewell in 2nd place, and I think Barry might be pretty happy if he can maintain the 2nd place, which he should do because Craig Garlick is a fair way behind him in number 62. A lot of cars out of this heat. In fact, I think there's almost as many on Ginfield as there are on the track still racing. So car number 72 will take the lead. Ian Brims from number 14. Barry Ewell, 62, is Craig Garlick. And who's going to get 3rd? It will be car number 20, 3rd, 4th, I mean, car number 26 with 16 on the side. 4 Briggs from Collie in the Sigma. Well, we had some incidents in that one, and where's Linton? Did he get hold? He got hold of... sponsored by the ADFA shop, and they certainly don't agree with what's in the program as far as I'm concerned, but we've got, 8 cars down there, so we don't care where they start. We're going to see a pretty good race anyway. And will they get a start? Yes, they will. Local guy out in front, Paul Sheen on the outside of Blackwell with Bob Walling running in 3rd place at the moment. It's that first corner they're going to get through. That's like a lot of them undone. And look at the Falcon of Paul Sheen in the XE Falcon out in front. He knows the track pretty well. Through the Deacon Avenue corner for the first time. Where's the other local guy, Darren Allen? He's back a little bit further. Bob Walling in 3rd place. Andrew Blackwell in 2nd. Terry Brown back in 3rd. Moldy Calderwood in there. Darren Allen right beside Calderwood. And that will be Brown, the other Brown up there. Gary Brown, of course, and back at the rear of the field is Vaughan Manders from Medina in Western Australia in the Sigma. Now we've got Blackwell putting the pressure on Paul Sheen in the Falcon. What's Blackwell driving? It's a VR Commodore, and he's only got a little bit of a gap between him and Paul Sheen. Paul Sheen would be pretty happy if he could win a heat of the Australian title, particularly with a couple of these guys he's got behind him doing very well on the Falcon at the moment. We don't often see Paul out in front of a field like this. In 3rd place, it's Bob Walling. Further back, it's the Queensland guy, Gary Brown. Darren Allen, Moldy Calderwood, and Terry Brown having a lot of trouble. Vaughan Manders able to come through and pick up a couple of placings then. In this particular heat, sponsored by the ADFA shop, they've spread themselves out. Paul Sheen in 16 is doing fairly well in the XE Falcon. He's, I thought he had a bigger gap, but it's been closed up a little bit. Blackwell's gone up high. Now he's got a better gap again. And surprisingly, Bob Walling doesn't seem to be able to make ground on these guys, where the Bob's just foxing a little bit, and he's could be a little bit like that. Close the gap up now and give that local guy a cheer out there, all you local Mildura supporters. Iggy Mott, let him know you're down there, because Paul Sheen has done pretty well at a couple of times. He raced, I think, in the final of the title down at Murray Bridge. In fact, most of the Mildura guys did, which was a tremendous effort. And he's got, 6 laps left to go to hang on. He's got 3 or 4 car lengths between him and the next car, which is Andrew Blackwell from Pakenham in Victoria in the VR Commodore. And then it's Bob Walling on his tail. The other cars are a long way back. Gary Brown, Darren Allen not doing too bad. Vaughan Manders, Terry Brown and Mouldy Calderwood back at the rear of the field. I think Bob Walling having a look each side of Blackwell to see just which way he might be able to go to get past. I personally don't think he's got the power by the look of it. Blackwell can open up that gap down the straight. Bob needs to take a little bit of a bite on the steering wheel. I think through the corners is maybe the only place he's going to catch him. Blackwell closed up again on Sheeny with 4 laps left to go. The Falcon's still doing all right out in front of the VR Commodore. And I think Walling is a VR Commodore as well. Yes, it is from Lismore. It's been a pretty good battle by Paul Sheen so far. I don't know if he realises how close this guy is now. If he touches, he'll certainly know how close he is. I can bet Joan Sheen and the family are getting pretty excited down there at this stage with 3 laps left to go. Blackwell has closed the gap up. He's putting a little bit more pressure on Paul now. Paul up high, coming down very low onto the pole line. He'll come up high again. Oh, Blackwell washed off a bit of speed then with a little bit of a fishtail. 2 laps left to go this time past. And can Paul Sheen, the local Mildura driver in the XC Falcon, hang on? He will be sponsored by Jones Ceramics too, no doubt. I haven't been able to read that on the side. We've lost 1 car down there. The white lights and the flag will be out this time round. He's looking pretty good now with 1 lap left to go. Bob Walling looking for a move on Blackwell for 2nd place. Now this will take the interest of these 2 guys. Bob Walling has slipped through into 2nd place with Blackwell. Hit the rut, Blackwell back into 2nd place. Bob won't be too happy with that. Down the back straight now, Walling started to get the dial of the car tuned in. Oh, not quite. 1 lap left to go for Paul Sheen in 16. This will be one of his best wins. Paul Sheen, and who's going to take out 2nd? I give it to Blackwell in the 25 car from 33, Bob Walling. And it's a long way back then to car 2, Gary Brown, then Darren Allen and Vaughan Manders at 77, and then a 13. That heat sponsored by the ADFA shop, which was heat 4 of round 2 of the Australian Modified Production Championship. On the outside of pole, this is his chance to do well, because that car on the inside of pole is not a quick car. Ashley Parkinson has gone right with him. Oh, getting very close going through there. I keep going to say Dustin Hoffman every time I see that guy's name. Vaughan moving up to 2nd place. Wayne Sullivan, he's come from nowhere. He's up there in about 4th place. How far back did he start? A long way back. Doing well. Cockerell and number 11 on the inside also doing well. Hicks dropped a long way back. Brock Clifford is, he had a win, I think, in his first heat. Certainly did well. And he's there back with the back bunch. He wants to get out of that lot there if he wants to pick up some points, because he won't want to stay there for too long. In front, it's still Martin Horson, the local driver from Ashley Parkinson. Number 11 is Darren Cockerell, Dustin Horn, and Wayne Sullivan will be the next car, of course. We've got, that's right, Brady. I shouldn't have put money on him. He's down on the infield again. All through the Deacon Avenue corner. The car going up very high. Was the number 7 car of Parkinson. Probably washed off a bit now. That pink and blue thing of Brock Clifford has finally got through away from the tail enders, and he's got a chase on now to catch the other guys. You've got Dustin Horn in front of him waving a tail at him like it's pointing the finger, don't come near me. Martin Horson, another local driver, doing well. But look at the 11 car. This one's a bit of a surprise too. It's Darren Cockerell from Geelong in the VS Commodore following the VK Commodore, I think Martin says yes. And they're going to have a battle between the 2 holders. Into the Deacon Avenue corner. Wayne Sullivan having his own battle a little bit further back with Parkinson from memory. It is running in 3rd place. Yes, it is, and somebody with a warning. It was either Parkinson or Sullivan. I'm not sure which one. Also being passed on the outside now by Cockerell. And that number 11 car fairly firing up. And Darren Cockerell's dad down here as well, often stewarding at these sort of meetings, Dennis, but he's running around, I think, probably being pit crew or spectator this weekend. He's now leading from Martin Horson in the 70 car with 71 on the roof. And that's the smoke coming in. Oh, one into the fence up the other end. I don't think he's hit the fence hard, but he has pulled in there. That looks like Parkinson. And we'll slow the cars down. Martin will be pretty happy with that. He was just starting to lose a little bit down there as the other car opened that lead up. And they're away. Cockerell a good start. Watch Sullivan go around the outside of Martin Horson. Not good enough to go all the way around the outside. He'll hang on. Oh, a little bit of a nudge there. I think he might have already got one, Morning. Up high on the backside of the track. Well, the pace down the back straight is pretty even between those two cars. It's the second and third one, I think the interest lies, and the fourth car, of course, too. Darren Cockerell out in front. This time Sullivan from the Wagga Club. About now on the inside of Martin Horse, and he's going to have trouble getting through there. He's got the wheel in. Oh, another little bit of a nudge. He'll go up high, but that car of Dustin Horn also trying to get past it. We've got Brock Clifford closed up on those guys as well. And then there is the warning flag coming out for Sullivan. I think that's 2 warnings he might have got, so Wayne Sullivan wants to be pretty careful down there. He's one of the top contenders for the title. He doesn't want to see that flag too often. Down the back straight, horses with a car length between them. The leading car, Cockerell, well out in front. Brock Clifford and Dustin Horn having their own battle back in what will be 4th and 5th place. Following them is car 42, one I haven't seen there for a little while, and Mark Ferguson had some trouble earlier. Bob Bailey, the Kiwi club, and then Brendan Higgs right back in the rear of the field. And I think Bob Bailey might be in trouble with some smoke coming out of the rear of the car. And Higgs looks like he's in trouble anyway. He just can't keep up with them. Coming through the Deacon Avenue corner, still the leading car, Darren Cockerell, has a good lead over Martin Horson and Wayne Sullivan. Sullivan's right on the tail of Horson. There's only 2 laps left to go, but he just can't get past. Cannot get through, so come on locals, give that local guy out there a bit of a rev. See if he can hang on to come in second. He's not going to catch the leader. 1 lap left to go. Wayne Sullivan, one of the top contenders, and he cannot get past Martin Horson. It's less than a lap to go. Darren Cockerell will take out the heat. Now Sullivan's washed off speed. He's gone up too high. His only chances if Martin Horson makes a mistake coming through the Deacon Avenue corner. He's not going to do that. It's number 11 in first place from number 71 on the roof and 15, and I think it was 41 is Hoffman, and Brock Clifford also ended up doing fairly well there. It wasn't 41 on the roof, but it was Dustin Horn anyway who came through in that placing. That heat sponsored by Quell Fire and Safety was heat 5 of round 2. Remember, we have 3 rounds, and there's a problem there, a flat tyre on Parkinson's car, and he's got Victory Lane written on the side, but not with a flat tyre. From Bendigo and an EB Falcon. Neil Moss in an ex-Australia 1 car, it's a VH Commodore from Renmark. Trevor Mills in a VR Commodore from Corowa. Peter McCarthy in a VK Commodore. Keep an eye on Spider. The locals have done well in the last couple of heats. And that's a pretty good start by Wilson. Spider McCarthy too. They went up and left the door open. Spider went through on the inside. He's up basically in the 2nd spot already with Millsy right on his tail. And both these 2 guys have had some races between them. Spider McCarthy on the inside going into the Deacon Avenue corner. He knows what this track's going to do and what he can do on it. 1 car back there lifting the wheel fairly well, and I should have guessed that's Neil Moss. Neil Moss doesn't mind lifting the inside wheels up on the hole. Spider McCarthy. Trevor Mills battling out for 2nd place there with Anthony Wilson. It should be still in there, or has he dropped back? I'll have a look when they come past. Kearney Thompson not far behind them. Thump, it is Anthony Wilson in there, and Mark Pagel in with him. I think these 3 guys just behind Spider might all cause some trouble there before too long. And that won't worry Spider too much at all. They're battling that away. Wilson, Anthony Wilson, back into 4th place now. Getting a little bit exciting up at the front. Look at Millsy on Spider. I think Millsy's got more pace. Spider McCarthy in the VK Commodore, and Mills in a VR Commodore on the inside. And we've got trouble back at the other end of the track. There's Nick Donning coming onto the track. And who is that? Well, everybody's rushing that way. Heard a thump, didn't see what happened. The car's still running.
Got back on Alan because I wasn't going to talk to him again.
We were all waiting with bated breath, Linton, for you to give us an on-air interview with Wayne. Straight, and locals going fairly well in the last couple of heats. Spider McCarthy currently leading this one with 9 laps left to go. And I tell you what, that's going to be a pretty tough 9 laps with Trevor Mills right on his tail. Mark Pagel, who has won a couple of state titles, right behind him. Anthony Wilson trying to pick up a placing already. Have a look at these 2 cars out in front. It's Millsy right on the pace. Spider with a little bit better handling going around the corner. 1 car length separates the 2. Down the back straight, and there's not much difference in the power. Millsy coming into the corner, perhaps a little bit harder than Spider. Who's at the back? No problems back there. And also Mark Pagel has closed the gap up on them in car 34. He's in a VP Commodore. All Commodores down there in the first 3. And we'll have a look through that. That's Anthony Wilson, the other car further back with the VR Commodore. There goes Mills now. Dived up on the inside. McCarthy almost cooked it. Too hard, a little bit of a nudge. He's in trouble now. 2 of them might get through. Yes, Pagel has got through as well. So Mills and Anthony Wilson's looking to have his bite of the cherry as well. Spider McCarthy won't sit back there too long. He'll have that foot plate in the Commodore. And I don't know if he's got the power at the moment, those 2 guys. did power away just a little bit. It'll come down to cornering skills and reliability, I think, on the track this time. Millsy in number 10. As I said before, when we read his profile, it said a dark horse. I don't think Millsy's ever been a dark horse, and we've lost him at the other end of the track, and that is the same two cars, I'm sure, that caused it before. So Miles coming over again. Now, we weren't watching back there. There's too much of a race going on at the front. A bit of a fight in the pits, and they want to carry it on. We'll watch them this time, but it's just too interesting up the front. Mills, Pagel, McCarthy, and look at Wilson going around the outside. He's been running around for a long time too, Anthony Wilson from Ballarat, so he's no slouch when it comes to running with the big guys. Millsy definitely has more power. Pagel will close up going into the Deakin Avenue corner. We've lost another one. I hope that's not Miles going onto the infield. I don't think it is. We'll have a look when he comes past. The leaders spreading out a little bit now. That's Paul Egan, one of the top contenders. He's been Australian too. The ACT. Spider McCarthy he's about to lose a placing as Anthony Wilson went through on the inside. So Spider hasn't got the VK Commodore going quite as well as he would have hoped. He's trying pretty hard to get through in there, and Anthony Wilson back out in front. It's Millsy now. Trevor Mills had the Victorian title sewn up for the last few laps, and something just went off a little bit. And the other guy, Laidlaw, Steve Laidlaw, finally got the car really firing towards the end of the race, picked him up and won the title. So Millsy will want to make amends here in the Australian title. I guess he'd prefer an Australian title than a Victorian one anyway, but both would have been nice. Mark Pagel has closed that gap. He's right on his tail. Spider McCarthy still behind Anthony Wilson. What have we got left to go? About 3 laps through the Deakin Avenue corner. And a couple of cars out in front. I don't think they'll be worried, but could be a toss-up as to which one of them ends up winning. Spider might have to be content with a number 4 this time round. That's Earhart a little further back. We haven't worried too much about the cars a bit further back. 2 laps left to go, 1.5. Spider up very, very high. The car not handling as well as we're used to. Through the Deakin Avenue corner. The yellow to white lights on, sorry, for 1 to go. Mills still in front of Pagel. And it's Wilson for Spider McCarthy, Earhart. A battle then between Williams and Kearney Thompson. It's Craig Williams and Tassie. And Miles, the Cairns car, a long way back. Also Neil Mossam there. Coming down for the checkered flag this time in this particular heat. And it's going to be close. Millsy in car number 10 from Pagel, 34. And then Wilson in 5. And who was the other one? Spider McCarthy, of course, was still up there with him. And he came in 4th place. So very interesting race, that one. And that was sponsored by Bullymore, Ed Pearson and David Jacoby. 10 cars, and that's the number of names I've got written down, so we should be right. None of the real top contenders in this one, I don't think. Element with a good start around the outside. Overall trying to get through past Marty Rams. Couldn't get through. Now he's going to take the gap through the middle, and will he get through? Well, he's got the nose in front, not quite enough power to get all the way through. And that was Jason McKinnell, I think, on the inside of that. Yes, green light still on out of the Deakin Avenue corner. We've got Ben Element out in front of Smith. Then it's Rams, Overall, and 76 McKinnell. Who was the other guy there? Bullymore. No, he's a fair way back. Right at the back, as a matter of fact. About the 4th or 5th car, I didn't think, as they came through the first 3, and we've lost 2 of them. Hollywood Hell Drivers. Well, now, Chief Stewart, who do you blame for that one? 2 cars losing it at the same time, as if there was a string. We'll keep an eye on them because we've actually got 10 cars. Now it's a complete restart, but overall, because of the flat tyre, we'll be starting rear of field. He is allowed to continue at the Chief Steward's discretion, but I think the ruling is that he must start rear of field. I forget that one. I might get a rock thrown up from down below us there. So Sunraysia Crash Repairs sponsoring Heat 7 of Round 2 of the Australian Modified Production Sedan title. And McKinnell up there, somebody else going back too. It's actually Smith is also back at the rear of the field, so I'm not too sure what's happened with him. But Element back in the lead from Jason McKinnell, and somebody making a move at the back of the field there. Marty Rahm still looks like he's doing pretty well. Neville Manstead, I think the other car in there, in a bit of trouble. 96 now was Chris Matthews, but it's still been Element from Western Australia, the XF Falcon, out in front, and Jason McKinnell in 2nd place. Through the Deakin Avenue corner, they've spread out, almost trouble with McKinnell, nearly lost it. But behind him in 3rd place is car number 96, Matthews. A battle then between Manstead, is it, and Marty Rams on the outside of him. A couple of cars bouncing, there'll probably be another maintenance, I think. after this second round of heats. They have spread out a long way, and a couple of cars that started up front a long way back now too. But Element, he's been looking fairly good over the couple of heats that he's run in so far. And the Scorpion down there in the midfield, well, perhaps not quite the midfield. Ross Bullymore back towards the rear of the field, I guess. Who's pulled out here? This is Jacoby. He spent more time on the infield than he has on the track tonight. Ben Element still out in front, the West Australian, from Jason McKinnell. And 96 is Matthews, and 95 is Manstead. And that's what I like, 3 abreast going through the clubhouse corner. Marty Raps decided it was too close to the fence being on the outside of those 3, so he'll come down and try the inside at the next corner. We've got an overtaking flag there, yes, for a car, Jacoby, at the rear of the field. Now we've got 95 and 96. That's Matthews and Manstead side by side. They're back in about 3rd and 4th place. Yes, McKinnell is in 2nd, and the car out there, Ben Element, is in 1st place. And these 2 guys not going to give up in 3rd and 4th place. They're going to battle all the way. Marty Rams on the inside of it will probably hit Pearson's car a little further back. He's picked up that placing. Number 8, Rod Smith, a bit further back in the flat tyre, of course, with Chris Overall is right back at the rear of the field. Well, he may not be back at the rear of the field, because I think Jacoby might in fact be at the rear of the field. Down to 5 laps left to go for Ben Element from Western Australia. Jason McKinnell, who's from Healesville in Victoria. And then in 3rd and 4th are still the 95 and 96 cars. They've had a fair battle for most of this heat, which is heat 7 of the Australian title, sponsored by Sunraysia Crash Repairs. That's probably where most of the interest is, apart from right back at the rear of the field. That's a pretty good lead by that car. He's a quarter of a lap in front now, Ben Element, and the other 2, 96 now in front of 95. So Matthews has a bit of a lead in 3rd place over the 95 car of Neville Manstead from Queensland, actually from a place called Monaghan in Queensland. He's back in 4th place. And I think the Scorpion, it is in 5th place. That is Ross Bullymore from Townsville. He's come a long way to race here in car 61. Marty Rams a bit further back. Still 3 laps left to go. And I don't think we'll worry about the other guys. That one fellow still, Jacoby it is, circulating around very high on the track. And I think Element's actually backed off to give the other guys a bit of a chance. He didn't seem to be going down there all that fast. Jason McKinnell in 2nd. 96 is Chris Matthews in 3rd. Then goes Manstead. Then Bullymore, Rams and Pearson having a battle. And car number 8 is Rod Smith. A little further back, 1 lap left to go as the 87 car goes across the line for 1 lap with Ben Element in the XE Falcon. He's got this race pretty well sewn up, because the 2nd car is almost exactly a quarter of a lap behind him. So the first 3 cars here have separated themselves from the field. We might have some interest back there between about 4th and 5th. We'll put out 87 for 1st place anyway. In 2nd place, there's not much doubt about it being 86. McKinnell in 3rd place, it'll be 96. That's Chris Matthews from Wendouree VK. Then 95 from 61, and we won't worry too much about the other guys coming across the line. As a bit of tyre squeal I think I can hear down there now. Good formation, ready for a start. And they've got it now. Look at the moves from the back. No big moves at this stage. The 2 Neils in front. It's Neil Watson who got the better of the start. He's moved up in the front. Pagel, probably the quickest car in the pack. And have a look at this. Pagel down one side and Mossy down the other. The guy from Queensland, and Gimpy actually in Queensland, and the South Australian on the inside, and the Victorian in the middle of the sandwich. And there goes Mark Phone and Neil Moss side by side. Mossy, oh, he got I thought he was in trouble then, but it was just a nice little manoeuvre to get the car sideways to go through the corner properly. It's Pagel out in front from Neil Watson, who's been having a pretty good night. Through the Deakin Avenue corner. Where's Paul Sheen? He's a fair way back. The car in 3rd place, of course, is Mark Phone at 51, Neil Moss 55. On the roof is Graham Earhart. Most of the action happening at the back. Paul Sheen probably not liking that little slick surface quite as much. He's running back 2nd last at the moment with Bronte Perkins. That'll be right back there with him. Gary Pagel. I think we've got the right Pagel. Yes, it's Gary in 65 from Gympie in Queensland in the VP Commodore with a good lead over Neil Watson. No major problems at the moment. I thought with that track the way it was, we might have had a little bit of a problem there to start with. Mark Phone is a car back in 3rd place in 51. 55, Graham Earhart, Neil Moss, Craig Garlick. 45, Kearney Thompson, Paul Sheen and Bronte Perkins. Now we've got a move going down the back straight of the 3rd place car. Mark Phone moving up onto Neil Watson, the Victorian. Mark Phone, of course, from Western Australia in car 51. Also the 55 car, which is from Queensland, putting a move on those guys, trying to close the gap a little bit. But Pagel's won titles before, and he's way on the pace at this stage. I don't think they'll break records this time, with the track being a little bit slick, but you never know. He does look to be going fairly well, certainly cornering well and not washing off any speed around the corners. As we said before, their average speed we worked out was about 80-something kilometres an hour. We'll have a look at that again shortly when we see some of those lap times. It's cars 2, 3 and 4 that might provide some entertainment over the last 5 laps, because the first car, as has happened a few times tonight, surprisingly, a full quarter of a lap in front of the other guys. Neil Watson still running in second place from Mark Phone down the back straight, and they just don't seem to be making any leeway on each other, although the guy back a little bit further in fourth place has closed the gap, and that'll be Earhart looking to come through. Neil Moss hanging on right in midfield with nobody just in front or just behind. Kearney Thompson behind him. Side by side we've got Craig Garlick and Paul Sheen. Sheeny on the inside, tail coming out a fair way, just catching Garlick on the side, and I think they locked up and ripped a little bit of fiberglass or something off one of those two cars then. Even the guys in second, third and fourth are separated now. Kearney Thompson closing the gap a little bit on Neil Moss. 3 laps left to go. We're going to lose Garlick. 62 has gone infield, and gone infield fairly quickly. Well, the yellow light's on. Maybe it's because of that bit of gear that I saw fly off over past the pit gate. I don't think it'll be because of Garlick going infield. I think Garlick might be just lucky that he went infield when he did. And they will guess the tail enders want to close the gaps up. They'll be too far off when they start. Watch the second car try to make a jump. It usually happens. Neil Watson. No, I think Pagel's just got too much power in the Commodore through the clubhouse corner, and he's opened up a reasonable sort of a lead already. Oh, Neil Moss with a car right in his tail. That was Kearney Thompson just tapping the tail, but he came out of that the worst for wear, went up very high. Now Paul Sheen on the inside of Thompson, and G. Mossy throws that car around. He always seems to be able to lift that inside front wheel. Still Pagel out in front from Neil Watson, Mark Phone, Graham Earhart. A little bit of bounce in there, and remember this is just the first race after track maintenance, so we shouldn't have any grooves in the track. Looks pretty good coming out of the Deakin Avenue corner, and one car bouncing all over the place. It's Mark Phone with Graham Earhart right on his tail. In fact, he was right inside his door then, and just half a lap left to go for the leading car. Watson seems to be in trouble. Did he just lose it, or has he lost power? Mark Phone up on the inside. This will be interesting through the Deakin Avenue corner. Mark Phone's blown it, and we will still get Watson in second place in 17 Phone, and then Earhart, and a bit of a battle for the minor placings a little further back. It was Gary Pagel in car 65 over the line first in that heat, sponsored by Paul Sheen Automotive, and you'd think those guys would have let Paul win that heat, soon he was sponsoring it, but I don't think that comes. So we're down a couple. We've got Peter Mason out, Greg Storer out. We've still got 8. Greg Freeman, of course, is out because he went whoopsie-doo down at the pit gate. So that gets me back to 7 cars, and they are away. The 97 car of Craig Williams with a good start. He's from Launceston in Tasmania in the TE Cortina. Have a look at Pagel around the outside. Well, these Pagel boys from Gympie certainly know how to drive. I think we might see both of those in the final tomorrow night. He's gone up fairly high, the little Cortina, not doing too bad to hang in with him. Bob Walling in third place, Moldy Calderwood and Wayne Sullivan there. Jason McKinnell, and at the back of the field is Bob Bailey from Hume Weir. High on the other side, and although Pagel did get a good jump past those guys, he's not opening up too much of a gap at this stage. Moldy Calderwood wants to get in there and mix it with him. Bob Walling has seen a gap down the inside, but he hasn't got the power to get through there. And Wayne Sullivan running in fourth place at this stage with 10 laps to go. Keep an eye on that third place car. Bob Walling, he's not a guy who goes racing to come last. And he's won a few big meetings in his time. He won't be too happy with that. He wanted to get the nose through in front. I think that first car, Pagel, is smoking a little bit. Wayne Sullivan also looking to get past, but he's got a pretty good car in front of him to try and get through on. Wayne Sullivan from Leeton, registered with the Wagga Wagga Club. He's got the opening now on the inside of Bob Walling. The power is pretty similar down the straight. Walling's out just wide enough to let Sullivan get the nose in. Can he get through it? Still 34. Mark Pagel out in front. Now, I've forgotten who the guy. It was Craig Williams in second place from Launceston in Tasmania. The Lismore driver, Bob Walling. And then the Leeton driver in fourth place is Wayne Sullivan. Jason McKinnell a bit further back. Mouldy Calderwood and Bob Bailey from Hume Weir right back at the rear. We'll have a look at the guys in 2, 3 and 4. They're having a fairly ding-dong battle, and Wayne Sullivan, he wants to pick up a few more points. I think he'll make the final, but he wants to get up a bit further. Bob Walling on the inside past the Coca-Cola sign. He got his nose well in front that time of the little Cortina in front of him. It's taken him a while to get through. And the Cortina of Williams from Tasmania has been relegated to third place. He now has to contend with Wayne Sullivan with 5.5 laps or so left to go. Sullivan doesn't quite seem to have the power. It's a pretty potent little Cortina, that one. He's making these bigger cars really have to work to try and get through. Still out in front, it's Pagel. Now we've got Sullivan on the inside of Craig Williams. Still can't quite get up there. The Cortina handling fairly well, cornering very well. Now Jason McKinnell's got onto the back of Wayne Sullivan. He's hoping to pick up another placing. Mouldy Calderwood a little bit further back. Still no changes out in front. It's Pagel from Bob Walling. And Craig Williams, he's dropped back a bit off those guys. Sullivan can't. Oh, and the wheels lifting on the McKinnell Cortina. And we'll get that right. Was that a Cortina of McKinnell's? It's a VK Commodore. Gee, I'm getting too excited. It's a Cortina up in front of him. And just 3 laps left to go. Perhaps it looked like a Cortina the way it lifted the wheels. And are we closing the gap on first place? I don't think so. I don't think Bob Walling's got the legs quite to catch up with Mark Pagel. And I don't know about that smoke. It could be tyre smoke soon. It's coming only around the corners. 2 laps left to go for these guys. Wayne Sullivan still can't pick up that third placing from the car in front of Craig Williams. Now he's got the nose in front. Still can't get through. Oh, McKinnell straight up into the back of him. Almost a nudge there. Don't know what that noise was. It came from somewhere. I think it might have been my brother's grandson, actually. And 1 lap left to go. We got the checkered flag already. No, I got distracted by that squeal in the background. It was another Collins wanting to take on commentating, I think. And Sullivan's not going to pick up that third place. He's still battling away there as the smoke comes out of Pagel's car. 34 and 33. And he's going to hang on there, Williams, in 97. And one last-ditch effort by the 15 car of Wayne Sullivan. He could not quite pick that up. Righto, the raffle they've been running, Mary's been selling tickets. There's a black ticket, D22, and she's at the bottom of the stairs with the raffle prize. So we won't have in your program at the rear of the field. So a good field of about 11 cars down there this time, and they will get a start when they come past us this time around. And Matthews with a pretty good start now. I hate to say it, but I think we had a couple of slower cars on the front row then, which might have caused a bit of commotion, but Ron Belshaw got well out of the way, and I reckon that's the first time I've seen a car pass by the entire field before the pit gates. So Ron not doing too well down there. And a couple of cars, look at this, he's got the wheel off the ground there, locked up well and truly, and guess who it is? Linton Coulter, get down there and talk to the man. He is having one hell of a weekend, Wayne Miles, and it's that corner. He cannot get through that corner. And it was Max Carlin he was tied up with then. Well, let's see how long Ron Belshaw stays on the outside pole this time. He's going to go straight for the outside wall to let the car behind him through, and that was Ian Brims who shot through there. 12 laps left to go in this particular heat. And we've got trouble at the pit corner this time, but I think they all got out of that. Our mate Thompson from Canberra was in a little bit of that. And the guy who was on pole, Chris Matthews, still out in front, but Brims is up on the inside of him. Max Carlin's right up there, and so Steve Jordan. Wayne Miles is in there with him. He's going to mix it with him this time, so Lincoln won't have to interview him about what goes wrong after the race is finished. Element up on the far side. I think that's Element up high. No, it's Andrew Blackwell. Element's a little further back. A couple of cars drop right out of it. Brims now in front of Chris Matthews with Carlin, Jordan, Paul Salou in there too. Then Blackwell a little further back. And who are the other guys further back there, Bob? Element, he's a long way back. Look at the pace down the back straight. They're starting to move now, and the little TE Cortina of Max Carlin, it absolutely flies. There's only one car I didn't pick up when they came past last time, and that was the 74 car of Miles. How could I forget that one? Linton's favourite car. Down the back straight, Brims from Carlin, and they've opened up a bit of a gap now on the other guys. That'll be Matthews a little bit behind in the VK. Oh, into the fence. Was that Maxie Carlin? He's still going. He got up fairly wide, but gee, lost a few places. Jordan and Paul Salou got through there. Also Blackwell, Element right on his tail. 8 laps left to go. Could have affected the handling. Somebody else going for the fence on the other side. Not sure who that one was. I'll pick that car up when he comes around. And looks like Carlin's in trouble. He's going to pull down fast. Smack in front of the other two. Carlin's done a front wheel. Yes, the wheel has absolutely had it. He nearly, we've still got the green light on. Yes, it's going to continue. So this will be the heat he drops for sure. He nearly wiped out the rest of the car then. And was that Ron Belshaw I saw that went up? But no, it wasn't him that went up beside the wall. It was his car down here. And the 2082 car, of course, of Steve Jordan. So back with the leaders. It will be Brims, of course, right out there in front, and a gaggle of cars behind them. Have a look at them. It's still Matthews doing fairly well. Paul Sheen up there. Make sure we get them right, because Carlin's dropped out. That's Brims in the first car. The second car coming across now, Matthews. Paul Saloon, not Paul Sheen down there, of course. Jordan, Andrew Blackwell, Bob Ellerman, and Miles a little further back. Well, I sort of thought the race was going to stop when Max Carlin nearly wiped out a couple of the cars in the field and got lost there for just a moment. But it's still Brims. He's way away from all that trouble. Have a look at the bunch of cars now coming through. This 96 car still doing pretty well. Chris Matthews from Wendouree in the VK Commodore. He's holding the other guys back. Queensland car of Jordan. He's up high, and that's the car with 82 on the top from Roma in Queensland. He's thrown the car around the outside to try and pick up a place. Couldn't quite make it. He might get it this time. It's Paul Salou going to come through the inside. Blackwell up on the outside. Ellerman in there too. And in the meantime, the leading car is just passing a tail ender, so he won't get too excited about that. And that was Jordan going up to have another close look at the fence. He's fairly throwing the car pretty well sideways. Oh, and a little bit of a bump there from Matthews, wasn't it? He's in all sort of trouble. He got a car. We've now got the yellow light on. And that's Brims on the infield down there. I'd taken my eye off him because he was so far in front. No idea what happened to him. These guys were putting on a fair sort of a show a little further back. In fact, they were putting on a great show back there. Matthews got into a bit of a trouble and nearly wiped out a car each side at the same time. Greg Thompson in the Big Mac car. 82, that's Steve Jordan from Roma in Queensland. He kept having a close look at the wall. 96 is Chris Matthews from Wendouree. Paul Salou, and I called him Paul Sheen at one stage, and Sheeny's not even in the race. Righto, they're away again. Well, we're worrying about a raffle winner there. The race started out of the game. Ian Brims on the far side of the track leading from Steve Jordan. Then we've got Andrew Blackwell has moved right up there with him. Chris Matthews still in with that leading bunch of cars on the inside of Blackwell. He's going to get relegated back to fourth place. Paul Salou, the Swan Hill driver, and an ex-Victorian one. And I think an ex-South Australian one as well. I don't know that one ever got resolved. Down the back straight, Salou is back in about fifth place. Oh, and up high, Brims will be in trouble. There's another one of the top contenders into the fence. He's going to wipe it all out. No, Paul Salou got back there okay. And that was the finish of the race. Well, we will wait for some official placings there. It looks like Jordan took the checkered flag. I think he's still racing anyway. And Maxie Carlin, of course, crossing the line to pick up some points. And Max will be a bit frustrated there because nearly every car finished, so he won't get a lot of points for crossing the line there. So I'm going to wait for the official placings there because in the excitement of Brims almost hitting the fence, or actually hitting the fence, I didn't realise it was quite the finish of the race already yet. And they're waving a checkered flag there while we're still trying to watch how many people Brims was going to take out. Paul Salou very close behind him. Question. Thurler Farm sponsoring this heat with a about, what have we got, 9 cars down there. And Steve Downs from Lismore in the VL Commodore. And have a look at Chris Waters. He'll try and pick up placings. Oh, straight through the gap beautifully. Chris Waters on the inside of Vaughan Manders on the outside. Oh, into the fence. Who's that up high? Won't worry about that car, but he took a bit of paintwork off. Chris Waters already out there in front. It could have been Terry Brown that went up high, but I'm not. No, he's down a little bit further in. We'll just pick up that car because he might have trouble later. That's 18. That's Thompson, Stephen Thompson from Maryborough in Queensland. So we'll go back with the leaders with 11 much left to go at 10.5. It's Chris Waters from Vaughan Manders, the little car that nearly flew last night in the time trials. Who have we got back in third place? Should be Peter Jacobson, I would say. Then it's Brock Clifford. Car 75 back there is Steve Downs. He dropped the fairway back from starting on pole. And I don't think we'll worry Terry Brown almost in trouble back there as the car went to go through. I think it was Brown going through on the inside, almost collected him. Chris Waters in the Pennzoil, number 9. EL Falcon with a good lead. Jacobson's out after him. He's got to get through Manders from Western Australia before he gets that far. He's in the little Sigma. They love the Sigmas in Western Australia, and why not? They fly. The little cars out on the track, they look a bit undermanned compared to some of the others, but Jacobson doesn't think so at the moment. He's sort of having trouble running him down, is Peter Jacobson. On the inside, oh, and he's lifting the wheels up on the inside there, Jacobson. He's finally got through. A little bit of crafty work to go up nice and high at the track then. Looked like a genuine line, but I think there might have been a bit of intent in that to make sure that Manders went as close to the fence as he possibly could. Chris Waters still in front. Jacobson, Manders, Brock Clifford. The car a little bit further back with a number 5 on the side is Steve Downs, who started on pole, and there's a fair way back, and the other guys. Oh, Brown just whipped through on the inside of that car. That could have been Dotting in trouble down there, and he's pulled to the infield. We'll see if he'll cross the line at the end of it all. At the first 3 cars now with 6 laps left to go. In fact, the first 5 all separated themselves fairly well, and we're going to get some challenges. Jacobson is going to try and close that gap on Chris Waters. If he's good enough, he's got enough time to do it. 5 laps when they go past us this time. But I think the Pennzoil Falcon is absolutely flying, and those guys who, the Barry Clarks, I think between them bought him last night in the Calcutta. I think they'll be starting to, they reckon that's a pretty good bargain. They got him for a pretty low price, and maybe somebody else might have thought they should have put up a little bit more for Chris Waters. And when he's out in front like that, I like to tell everybody he's a Collingwood supporter as well, so I don't want to put the moz on him. But Chris Waters, a local guy who was yet to win, well, he won a major feature here last weekend, but he said he thought that was the first feature that he won at the Mildura track. So he's on song pretty well this weekend with the Australian title. It's never won till it's won, but he's certainly up there with him. That guy behind is going to be one of the fellas. Oh, almost in the Deacon Avenue corner. Peter Jacobson has closed the gap a little bit. He's won one of these titles before, and I think he's actually closing the gap on Chris Waters at the moment with 3 laps left to go. They're down to 2 now. He's still got a little way to go. Vaughan Manders, a West Australian. He's in front of Brock Clifford in 46 with the Clifford sign on the side of the car. Pink and blue. That's almost Darren Allen colours of a year or so back. And the pink colours, I think the Kim Reed and some of those guys might have had. Perhaps they found that can of paint. What do we got left? 1 lap to go. Chris Waters will be pretty happy out in front. I think he's trying to win an Australian title before Jared pinches the car. Because Jared Waters, the junior, is going to be too old to drive juniors next year. And here's some trouble in front of us. Cole Beasley is right back there at the rear of the field, and Cole really hasn't been on the pace in this race. In fact, that's the first time we mentioned him. So it's Chris Waters across there, 76 Peter Jacobson, and then it's 77 Vaughan Manders, Brock Clifford in 46, and 75 Steve Downs. And still a battle with Cole Beasley and Terry Brown, with Brown just in front of Beasley. And he shouldn't have done that because Cole sponsored this heat. So Brownie, you should have backed off a little bit and let him take up another place. And who? Well, Trevor Mills off pole. Well, Mills will be looking pretty good at the moment. He's had a big job for the last, for the last 6 months probably. In fact, the last 3 years. But in the last few days, with all this coming to fruition, been a real big job for him. Righto, I'll put my money on Millsy and probably Laidlaw to be second. And look at the guy Jolly around the outside. He needs to pick up points. Oh, bounce. Look at this Jolly around the outside. Well, he's put a supercharger in the car, I think, or a V8. Martin Horson's decided this will be an interesting heat. Martin Horson smacked in the side, and he got one in the side, and he got one, and then the next one got one. So they all got one then. Barry Ewell was in the middle of that as well. I wouldn't like to say Avenue for a number of reasons. One is that we might be the other car that you run into. And number 2 is that there are that many police around town that you're not going to get very far anyway before you get picked up. And they're away. Millsy with a good start. Have a look this time. Jolly not quite so good. I don't think he's going to pick up the whole field in the first corner. Millsy in front of Laidlaw. That's okay. And Jolly up very high. So did Martin Horson, scraping the fence. This is the corner they got into trouble, and the cars are in a totally different order to when they went through there before. One I didn't pick up there. That's Jolly down there. Number 4, Deckard, of course, he dropped back a fair way. The Horsham car. And these guys, Twangarata all over again with the 2 fellas out in front there. On the outside, Trevor Mills from Corowa, and the Victorian champion right on his hammer. And we've got trouble. Oh, they'll get through it this time. That car number 54 was hanging on all right there. Ron Watts, it looked like he was going to get pushed away from that. And around the outside, the Victorian champion, Stephen Laidlaw, takes on Trevor Mills down the back straight into the Deacon Avenue corner, and Laidlaw came out of that in front. But Mills is staying on the pole line. He's going to come out, oh yes, and up high, a little bit of a touch. So Laidlaw took him on, but then dropped back. Jolly is back in third place, and you guys at the back don't do anything because we're not going to watch. Down the back straight, it's going to be another drag. Past the Coca-Cola signs, it's Mills in front, Laidlaw on the inside. This is tremendous racing. These two Victorians down there, they vied for the Victorian title at Wangaratta last month, and Millsy led most of the way, and here goes Jolly on the inside. Jason Jolly from Lismore up in New South Wales, but he didn't get there. Up high into the fence, back at it. Oh, a little bit of a nudge maybe in the Deacon Avenue end of the track, and I can see the Mills crowd getting pretty excited down there. Number 10, it's still Millsy out in front. The laps are going down fairly quickly. I can't quite make it out. It looks like 7. And look at the two, nothing between them, not a cigarette break. Oh, he's into the fence. That's Laidlaw, clipped the fence. He's lost a position. That's got him off Millsy's tail. And the other car came through on the inside to take out second place at this stage is Jason Jolly. So that's put Laidlaw back off Millsy. 6 laps left to go. Mills has the best lead he's had for the whole lap. I said right from the start, he's no dark horse, this fella. Look at that two go to the Deacon Avenue corner behind him in second and third place. That's some good racing. Those guys who were up there before, right back. Martin Horse are not up with them this time. Laidlaw back in second place from Jolly in third. Are they going to close the gap in the next 5 laps to Mills? I don't think so. I think once Millsy broke free, he was pretty right. It's Jolly in third place making a move again on Laidlaw. Mills still in first place. And it's a fair way back to the 4th place car. We won't worry about them. And we've lost one at the other end of the track. Is that Martin Horson? And the guy there, 54, was it Ron Watts, who's back in 4th place. It was Horson that took a shortcut across the infield. Didn't help him very much because he's half a lap down. Through the Deacon Avenue corner, it's still Mills out in front. It'll drop to 3 laps as he comes across this time. In second place, Laidlaw from Jolly. Then it's car number 54, Ron Watts, and the Tasmanian driver, Barry Ewell, a little further back. 4 is Decker, then Horson, and the Scorpion of Pullymore a little further back. Maybe they've sorted themselves out now. It'll be 2 laps left to go this time. And after that first half of race, it was so exciting there for a while. They seem to have settled down. There's probably going to be more racing at the back of the field at this stage. Martin Horson trying to pick up points on the inside of the Horsham driver, Deckett. The white light is on. They'll get the white flag as they come past this time. And she's all settled down fairly well now with Millsy out in front of Stephen Laidlaw, the Victorian champion. Well, I've still got the money on Laidlaw. I have to. I bought him last night. Got a pretty good price too, I thought. Oh, and Jolly in a bit of trouble. Washed off speed. I don't think we'll get any changes. It will be Trevor Mills unless he does something silly. And the camp pretty happy down there. 31 Laidlaw in second place. 24 is Jolly. In 54 is Watts. A little further back. Then it's Barry Ewell, car number 14 from Tasmania. 71 Martin Horson. And I'm starting to feel it's a good thing there's only a couple of races left to go. And about barbecue, and I think we might be ready for something to eat. Gee, this is going to be a slow start if they keep it at this pace. Oh, I thought there was a thing called a reasonable speed, and that's a very, very slow start. And Christie was actually, I think Marty Rail's hanging back, and have a look at Walling. Picked up a few placings already. Oh, and the wheels up on that inside car, way up in the air then. That, not sure who it was. He's a long way back. Walling got sort of slipped back out through the middle there for a minute. Now we'll pick up the leading cars. It's Christie from Wilson, number 7 Parkinson, Walling in there on the inside of Marty Rams. Dustin Horn a little bit further back. Where is Spider McCarthy? He's right up there with him on the tail end of the bunch. Looking to go through the Rod Smith car now. Well, through underneath the Rod Smith car. And Westy a little further back. coming through the Deacon Avenue corner, a few bumps there, and it's getting a little bit rough with these guys out in front. Christie holding back Wilson, Parkinson and Walling. Walling in 4th place. He likes to win the heat. He's not come back there, and he's got a few laps to pick him up, and he's probably got a quicker car. And Marty Rams was it into the fence, nearly came back onto Graham West from Bendigo. And trouble, 1 car's around, and it'll be a sideways bingle. And that was the number 6 car, Spider McCarthy, that had to do the motorbike trick then and try and throw the car down. Luckily, no, he's starting a little bit quicker this time. Anthony Christie out in front from Kinglake, did I say, with the VK Commodore. Now, Greg Walling, he doesn't mind going around the outside, Walling, and the track will have dried out a bit, so there's plenty of drive up there. A lot of play put into this track over the last few years. Was a dirt track with a very drifty surface there for a long, long time, but a lot of changes made to it recently. Christie is still in front. Parkinson behind him, Walling in 3rd. Spider McCarthy's up there with him on the inside of Dustin Horn. Spider got something, looks like a mud flap hanging down the back. Oh, Horn nearly rode up on the side of him. Spider up into 4th place. Down the back straight, we've got to move on to the leader. Christie has been, and Christie has lost it big time. And Spider's and he's up and over, but not quite well. A fair bit of evasive action there, and I bet Dustin Horn thought he was gone. Poor old Spider, he thought he'd copped it again that time, not quite as bad. Taking a while to get this second last heat out of the way. This one's sponsored by Mildura Crane Hire. And have a look at the leading cars here, because I think the 2 in 2nd and 3rd are actually quicker than the guy in front, although he hasn't been a slouch this weekend either. Yeah, Spider's dropped back a little bit. He's opened up a couple of car lengths. There goes Walling straight through. He's in 1st place. That's where he wants to be. Can Spider McCarthy pick up the 2nd place and go out and chase Walling? It's a little bit rough coming through the Deacon Avenue corner at this stage. 8 laps left to go. Yes, it's just gone down to 8 laps. Oh, into the fence, and the sparks there. That would have warmed up the customers down on the fence. That was Paul Griggs from Collie in Western Australia. Down the back straight, no changes except for the rear of the field, and that looks like Darren Sahusky trying to pick up a place. Marty Rams just up in front of him, and Walling opening up a better lead. Who was the other car down there that I didn't pick? West and another guy just in front, but they're a long way back, so we won't worry about them. They're having their own private battle. Out in front, I think Spider having trouble closing the gap on these 2 guys. It's Greg Walling, the current Australian champion, followed by Ashley Parkinson in car number 7, and Spider McCarthy in the VK Commodore. The only Mildura driver in this particular field, I think, down there. They haven't done too bad a job so far. The locals on their home track. Let's hope tomorrow night 2 or 3 of them can really get it all together, and we get a few of them in the final to really get the locals behind them. Have a look at the Lismore driver, the Australian Tasmanian number 1. He's doing it fairly comfortably. The car seems to ride some of those bumps a little better than the others. What are we down to? 5 laps left to go. He's actually opening up a bit of a lead. There's no problem for him there. Got through that corner nice and smoothly. Yes, all of them. Spider with a little bit of a bump. And one of them's gone around. Smithy's spun it. And are they going to miss him? Yes. Well, he spun it at the Deacon Avenue corner. And those guys had to brake pretty suddenly and try to work out just which way you're going to go. Do you go left, front, back, rear? Well, they got themselves lined up pretty quick this time for the restart without Smith, of course. And that's closed them up on Walling with, what have we got, 4 laps left to go. Now they'll put the pressure on. I'll certainly try to, but I don't think they've got the power to. Walling pulls away from them. He's looking pretty good. Him and Chris Waters and Millsy, I'd say, at this stage. Carlin, of course, looking good too, but he lost that, did 1 heat because of the wheel. Have a look at the lead. He's opened up now. Spider McCarthy has just been passed by Briggs, the West Australian driver, and another car trying to go through on the inside of him as well. So Spider's got his work cut out down there, looking to pick up 2nd now. Can he get through? The guy from West Australia, Paul Briggs, is certainly going very well, and somebody ringing the phone in the background. If I can get some attention to somebody there to maybe grab it. And there might be some news on how Leanne Ross is going down at Thunderdome. Everybody seems to desert me right in the middle of it. Spider McCarthy now diving up into 2nd place. Can he get through? He's trying to force his way through. He's got the nose in front. 1 lap left to go. He's now up in front of Parkinson. They won't catch Walling. He's too far out in front. But Spidey, you've just got the nose in front. Another guy right on your tail waiting. Now look at Parkinson. More power down the back straight. That's unusual, so Spider hasn't got the car going as well as he should. Walling obviously in 1st place. Can Spider hang on for 2nd? Oh, well, we'll leave that to the judges. I don't know whether that was going to be a Spider McCarthy 2nd or a Parkinson 2nd. That was very, very close. And here we go for the points. Rod Smith will cross the line in car number 8. And he will be recorded as coming about 8th.
something like that. And the other guys, looks like they're not going to... Through the Deakin Avenue corner, ready for a start. John Purser on the pole with Greg Gardner, the ex-South Australian one, on his outside, and that's left a gap open there for Overall to try and slip through. He didn't quite do it as the cars around the outside seemed to go a lot quicker past the pit gate. Jeremy McClure trying to pick up a few points late in the night. He's moved up into third place from a long way back. And there's a bunch of cars at the back of the field coming in there pretty hard. A bit of dust starting to rise. One of them hit the fence. And it's Egan on the inside with Gartner on the outside. A big racing family, the Gartners, all from down Penola way. They race in every class, I think, mentionable, and have won a number of titles between the cousins. And the guy 42, he's determined to wipe out our fence signs down the back straight. It's still Egan out in front from Gartner. Then it's Jeremy McClure Overall in there. Darren Cockerell came down a little bit too hard in car number 11. John Purser, who started on poles way back in the field. And who was that in trouble? One of the Overall, I think it was, in car number 10, and whatever number he is on the top, but the 10's easy to see. 47 is Egan. He's an easy one. He's got 47 everywhere. And the ex-South Australian champion, Greg Gardner, in second place. Jeremy McClure from Wilcannia, still doing pretty well, hanging into third place. And Darren Cockerell in car number 11. He's back there in, fourth place, and the other four cars just a little further back. We have got 8 laps left to go as they go past us this time. Egan, he's has been a number 2. I didn't say he's a has-been, he has been a number 2 in Australia a couple of years ago, so he's got to be up there with him. The guy who did the eraser job on the fence, 42, has pulled in there. That's Mark Ferguson from Trinder Park in Queensland. He's going to pull up on the concrete strip for a little while. And somebody taking a shortcut, that was Gary Brown in number 2. I thought that car might have actually performed a lot better, had a bit of bad luck earlier on the night. I think his first heat it was that he got control. Oh, Darren Allen, where are you going? Up to the fence. That's allowed everybody to get through, Darren. He seemed to lose control. Oh, don't nudge him. Right into the tail of John Purser, and this other guy taking a shortcut again. I think Gary Brown's found it's a bit shorter to put the wheels over the pole line, and there's not much excuse here at Mildura because we've got a nice white concrete pole line. It's not like some tracks where there's nothing there but dirt. To the Deakin Avenue corner, we're going to bring it down to 5 laps this time. It's still Paul Egan from Gartner, Jeremy McClure, Cockerell, Overall 59 Purser, Darren Allen and Gary Brown back at the rear of the field. Down the back straight, we've got a battle on now between the 3rd and the 4th place cars. And that car number 11 of Cockerell, the VS Commodore on the inside of McClure, and he's taken very nicely too, but he'll go up a bit wide here. Jeremy had to back off a little bit or he might have ended up in the fence there. Just the 4 laps left to go, and Darren Allen, what are you doing for the crowd? He's trying to get the car back over the pole line. I think the yellow light's going to come on. And Darren, now we know that Darren wouldn't deliberately sit there to get a restart. I mean, to get back on the tail end of the field, would he? Ground for a start, just the 4 laps left to go, and we'll be ready for the checkered flag when it comes up fairly quickly this time. You start to think it's the start of another race. Paul Egan from the ACT out in front. Greg Gardner from South Australia, 2nd place. Darren Cockerell, car number 11 from Victoria. And a New South Wales car in 4th place. So they're from all over the place down there. A West Australian car a little bit further back. And there's a couple of other Victorian ones in there. I think it is particularly Darren Allen at least. So it's still Egan out in front. 3 laps left to go now. We might have to watch the tail enders. That's where a lot of the action's been happening tonight. We're missing some of it. But they're spread out all with their own bit of racing ground at the moment. No real threats looking to be looming. But number 11, Cockerell, has decided he'll make a liar of me. Up on the inside of Greg Gardner, and they're both bunched up a little bit on the leading car. I think he might be in trouble. Egan lost, no, he's got it going again now. Lost power going down the main straight here on the front straight, and certainly backed off a little bit. That enabled the other 2 guys to come right up behind him. And Cockerell isn't finished yet with Gardner. He's going to try and get the wheel inside Greg Gardner and see if he can pick up 2nd place. They're pretty close to the first 3. Jeremy McClure perhaps a little bit too far back to pick up another placing now. I think Egan in car 47 should take it out. Are we going to get through without any more troubles? So it'll be Egan in 47, then 64 Gardner, 11 Cockerell, 37 McClure, and the minor placings coming across to take the checkered flag. So fair smack on 12 o'clock, so that's not too bad.
Settle down to watch the first.
Getting through the first corner okay with Martin Horton out in front. Dustin Holt behind.
behind him. The Tirana of West moving up on the outside. Carlin's actually dropped back a little bit there. He's got 12 laps to make it up, and he's not going to be silly because he had a big bingaloo with the fence last night. And it's a Tirana 56. Graham West on the outside from Horn, and it's the car of Mark Phone back in behind them, then Max Carlin, Neil Watson and Neil Moss back at the rear of the field. Neil taking it steady at the moment. Martin Horson dropping back a few positions as the Phone car went through, and I don't mean the Telecom one either by that, or Telstra. It's spelled a different way, but Graham West did tell us that little Tirana loved the wet, and he was itching to get down there. He'll be wrapped. He's running first, had a lot of trouble last night, had a lot of work today to get that car fixed up. In fact, it's the two little cars down there running first and second. Dustin Horn running second at this stage. Mark Phone in third place from Martin Horson. Max Carlin is not busting a gut there at the moment. He's hanging back with the field. That leading car opens up a big lead. Neil Watson a little further back, and Neil Moss in the ex-Australia one
One's
car.
gone around up in the pit end, Alan.
Oh, going backwards along the fence. That was Phone by the look of it.
Max Carlin doing a good job to stop it.
Yes, Max Carlin up there. So that'll bring Graham West back to the field a little bit. Would be almost impossible without with two non-finishers. We should get a start again this time round. It's still Westy out in front in the old J Tirana. Dustin Horn from Gympie in Queensland with the TD Cortina. And they're away. Look at the Tirana, power away. That little car certainly going well. And we're going to get through the corner okay. We're sort of watching for cars that's been out, and it's only happened once so far. And the Tirana already with a big lead down the back straight. And the Cortina is going to go out after him again. Martin Horson in third place. They're backing off at that corner. As the night wears on, they won't back off at that corner. They'll power through it. Dustin Horn in 94 in second place. Martin Horson in 71. Just behind him, Neil Watson, Neil Moss, and the guy who spun out before, who's Mark Phone back at the rear of the field. Well, Horn's in trouble. He's pulled right up to the fence, so that's taken him out of contention. And look at the Tirana. If the track was like this all night, we'd nearly pick him for the title winner. He's a quarter of a lap in front of the other guys. They're still coming through the Deakin Avenue corner as Dustin Horn from Gympie pulled off onto the infield. Neil Watson now up into second place, and Neil Moss right on the tail of Martin Horson, looking to pick up another placing as well. These guys that are down there actually really need to get some good points, so they'll be pretty happy that there's only one fellow out in front of them. They'll forget about him. They'll make sure that they beat the other three cars that are running there in the batch of four. Each of those wants to finish in front, of course. It's Watson from Horson, Moss and Phone, and this is almost half a lap lead, so Graham West wasn't joking when he said he wanted to get the Tirana down there. He said if anything was going to handle that track, the LJ Tirana would, and he's been around Speedway for a long time in the smaller car, racing against all these bigger guys, and he does pretty well. We've got 5 laps left to go. It has seemed like a long race, this one. Watson has now opened up a good gap between him and the third place car, which is Martin Horson. We say it's from Mildura. Martin's actually from Redcliffe and the Mildura club. Neil Moss in a little bit of trouble then, just hooked up and went out wide on the track, and Mark Phone still 2 or 3 car lengths behind him as they go past the Coca-Cola signs on the far side of the track. Coming through the Deakin Avenue corner, and I've totally forgotten all about that. Oh, Max Carlin's driving the car. He's going to drive across the line and pick up points, and they'll be valuable points because he will in fact come in 6th. So this will be a very valuable, well, there's 2 of them down there. He'll probably come in 7th because Horn will come in first if he can drive across the line, and they could be very valuable points come the end of the night. So Max will be pretty happy about that, even if not about the damage. Watson still in second place. They're spread out a long way now. Horson in third, Neil Moss from Renmark, and then Mark Phone in the 51 car from Western Australia. And Neil Moss in the same sort of problem down in front of the clubhouse. Seems to hook up and make a little bit of a right-hand turn. We're down to, is it still a couple of laps? We should almost, next time Westy comes across, we'll get the yellow light or the white light for 1 lap left to go, and that should go up now. I tell you what, how often do you see the Tirana in the modified production series threaten to lap the other cars, and he is not far from doing that. I don't think Graham West will have lapped too many cars in his career with a modified production, but he's not far from it this time. That's the second place car just going through now, and Neil Watson, he'll be happy. Martin Horson with the third place if he keeps it up, Neil Moss, and the checkered flag will be out now for the 56 car of Graham West in the LJ Tirana.
From Fanny. Oh, and he's right around. That was Neil Moss, was it?
Yeah.
Yes, looks like Neil and Dustin Horn going across to take the checkered flag. Our second place car now, 17, a long way back. Martin Horston in 71 in third place. The fourth place car will be the one coming across now, number 51, Mark Phone. And Max Carlin will take the checkered flag, as we explained last night. Close, and Neil Moss will be the next one over. But Max Carlin and Dustin Horn will pick up points, even though they've spent most of the race on the infield. If they take that checkered flag at the end of the race, they will pick up points. TT. Looking for a start, and they've got it. Watch Waters from the back. The car 86 is McKinnell, Jason McKinnell, with a good start. Vaughan Manders going through after him. A little bit of a nudge there by the look of it. Where's Waters? He's way back in the field at the moment. He's got to get them sorted out pretty well. Is that Ronnie Perkins, who dropped way out the back? A couple of cars look very similar. It'll be McKinnell in first place from Vaughan Manders, West Australian in second. 54, Ron Watts. Car number 50, I missed one down there, is Graham Earhart coming through. And I was looking at the car number, not the roof number. Chris Waters now has moved up into fourth place. This is probably, along with Spider McCarthy, the big chance for a local win in the Australian title. Let's hope he keeps that Falcon nice and tidy around there. He is sitting pretty well on the points at the moment in second. Can afford to drop back a little bit, but if he does very well in this heat, it doesn't really matter what happens in the last one. He's going to be right up there. A couple of cars walking now. Waters up in the third place. Manders, it is making a charge on McKinnell on the inside through the Deacon Avenue corner. Vaughan Manders had to back off just a little. McKinnell had the better line. McKinnell in car number 86. He's doing okay.
We've lost one up in the Deacon Avenue corner, Al.
One, yes, that will be either keep their line, as the chief steward told them so determinedly last night, and a couple of guys didn't seem to listen too well. They weren't too bad for most of the night. Can't change out of that single file until the flag's gone. Now they can do what they like, well, within reason. Chris Waters, he's got Gardner right on his tail. Waters couldn't quite get the car to move around the right way then, and collected Manders. Now they're through on McKinnell. Waters is going to get sandwiched between the two of them down the back straight. He's got the nose out in front, and he's got the whole car out in front now. And we've got a problem at the Deacon Avenue corner. A couple of cars gone into the boggy stuff on the infield, but it's Chris Waters who's doing fairly well out in front. Once he got there, this will be a good one for Waters, because he's gone from back in the field, and he's now got himself up on the pole on the leading position. Vaughan Manders in the little Sigma from Western Australia is going to go out and chase him. That's a car that flew, and I mean flew literally the other night. He's passed him on the inside. What's happened to Chris Waters in the Pennzoil car? The Falcon has dropped back into second place. Vaughan Manders, oh, he's gone right into the fence. He's just caught it. Made a sudden right-hand turn. I think he's going to keep going, Vaughan Manders. Didn't do too much damage as the three cars going past the Coca-Cola signs come together. We'll go back with the leaders out of the Deacon Avenue corner, and it's Vaughan Manders still in front from Chris Waters, the local driver. Jason McKinnell a little further back. Greg Gardner.
He's bonnets up on the windscreen, Alan.
Well, that will create a little bit of a problem. That's Manders, yes. I think it was Andrew Coxhead who did that here one night, wasn't it? There the bonnet's down. But if he takes off, the bonnet will come back up again. So that's put Manders out just when he was doing so well. He'll cruise around there. That must be frustrating. He knows he can't go any faster because the bonnet will fly up again. Still McKinnell from Gardner overall, and the car 50 of Graham Earhart. We must have lost one in there. We've lost a couple actually, and a couple more coming up. Darren Sahusky at 54. Ron Watts, the other car I was looking for. Well, I hope you locals are down there, up out of your chairs now, cheering for Chris Waters. We'd love to see a local win it. We don't want to get too parochial and onto the locals, but we haven't had a Mildura driver win an Australian title in this class. I don't know if we've had one win an Australian title at all. There's 5 laps left to go. Now Manders has pulled in. They gave him the signal that it was okay to make the left-hand turn to get off the track. The leading car coming around the Deacon Avenue corner again now is Chris Waters in the Pennzoil Falcon. He's in number 9, and he's quite a way in front of Jason McKinnell in second place, with the pressure being put on by Greg Gardner and a battle going on between those other 2 cars, Graham Earhart, and I think it was overall with him. We're down to 4 laps left to go.
and I don't think Chris is going to have too much trouble with slower cars. He may here with Saharsky in front of him. Saharsky's got the overtaking flag and will have to hold a steady line to let Chris Waters get through. It's looking good for Waters at this stage. Jason McKinnell still in second place, but the ex-South Australian champion Greg Gardner through on the inside, a bit of a nudge. That's caused trouble for the both of them, and the two cars behind will close the gap a little bit. Not much longer in this particular heat to go. There's the overtaking flag for Ron Watson, car 54, as Chris Waters in the Pennzoil car moves up to overtake him. He's got a quarter of a lap on the other. He's had to back right off with this guy. He doesn't want to take any risk, and there goes Gardner now through. He's they're all making a right-hand turn at the pit gate. I think they think the race is finished and want to get out of it. I don't know what's happening in that particular spot of the track. Chris Waters now with the white light and the white flag out there. 1 lap left to go. That car's not running in second place. The one coming out of the Deakin Avenue corner now is number 86, Jason McKinnell, and it's Gardner in third place overall at the moment in fourth from Earhart in fifth, and Saharsky, Saharsky, I think, a little behind him because Ronnie Perkins is on the infield. Righto, get out of your seats and give him a hand. There's Chris Waters, the local guy, in first place, and that will put him certainly up with the early starters in the final. That car's not in second place. That one is car number 86. Then it's 17 on the side, but I'm not sure what his roof number is there at this stage with Gardner. We'll just check the 17 and Gardner 64 on the roof because it was covered in mud. Justin, that's the way to confuse Justin. We gave him the sheet of a race it's already run. He should have been able to predict the winner then, shouldn't he, and been a real good commentator. So we've had, what are we down to? Race 4 for the night, heat 3, and that's, I hope you've got heat 4 there. 4-4 over there, round 4, heat 4. So, now we haven't even looked at who's going to go where here. There's not a lot of the top runners in this heat, so it could be an interesting one. A good chance for some of these guys to pick up points. Barley out, Ben Element with a great start. Barry Ewell, the Tasmanian's gone out after him, so we've got a West Australian, Tasmanian, and then Victorian, and the guy Brock Clifford a little further back. He's from Bundaberg, so we've nearly got every state in Australia right up there. And Cole Beasley a little further back. John Person from Western Australia. His car's nice and easy to pick up. The track's starting to look pretty good now. The times will come down. Ben Element, car 87 from Barry Ewell. Brock Clifford, Bob Bailey, Cole Beasley, John Purser, Wayne Miles, 63 is Greg Thompson, and Terry Brown at the rear of the field. So that's all the cars we've got in this heat, and they're pretty well spread out. Somebody, oh, he's in trouble. He nearly put it over again. Tomo, he got round sideways, and that car's looking more bent every race. Out in front, the young fella, Element, in car number 87. He's got a string of cars behind him. All Brock Clifford in the car with the pink backside just moved right out. Almost lost a couple of positions, but not quite. The Hume Weir car with 29 on the top of Bob Bailey should have taken that position, but wasn't quite able to do it. The Deakin Avenue corner doesn't appear to be causing any problems at all to the drivers, but watch them going through the pit corner. They seem to make right-hand turns about halfway through the corner. Looks like they're all getting through it this time. No, there goes one. There's got to be a sign there somewhere that says turn right to leave the track. And back up with the Deakin Avenue end of the track. That was John Purser who turned right that time. Wayne Miles, his weekend not going so well. He's still back at the rear of the field. Ben Element out in front from Barry Ewell. Brock Clifford, Bob Bailey, Cole Beasley, John Purser. 74 is Wayne Miles and Terry Brown. And they're well strung out. We've got no real battles. I don't know if any of these guys. Ben Element will probably be the highest one up. Barry Ewell's not too far back. If he picks up good points, he can probably do all right over the weekend. Was not much of it left to go, by the way. Another heat for these fellows a little bit later on in the night, and then the final, so they need to pick up the points now. Element's still doing okay out in front. We've got a challenge going on for second place. The Tasmanian Barry Ewell still hanging in there in the TE Cortina, but Brock Clifford and now Bob Bailey closing the gap. And the track doesn't look to be causing too many problems now, so we did tell you that if you were patient and waited along with us, we'd get some good racing down there. And another right-hand turn. They're all doing it. It'll be a little bit frightening coming into the pit corner at this stage. Down the back straight now, we've got a race on. Brock Clifford on the inside of Barry Ewell. That's the Tasmanian on the outside, and the guy from Bundaberg in Queensland now in second place, and the Hume Weir driver, 29 on the top, 19 on the side. Bob Bailey doesn't want to let go of these fellows, and then the only Mildura driver in the field, Cole Beasley, is a little further back running in fifth place. Cole probably hasn't had a great weekend. He's had a pretty busy weekend helping to get this title organised. Maybe had his mind on other things in the car. Probably hasn't been going quite as quick this season as he would have liked. It looks like pretty clear-cut leaders at this stage with 4 laps left to go, and we're going to see somebody do something down out near that pit gate before the night's out. I'm quite sure of it. We saw a rollover there last Saturday night and another rollover in the same position last night, and they were fairly spectacular, even though I missed the first half of the first one. Ben Element is still out in front of Brock Clifford, Barry Ewell, Bob Bailey, going past now Colin Beasley, John Purser from Western Australia, the South Australian Terry Brown, and the guy from Cairns, number 74, Wayne Miles. 3 laps left to go. Will drop to 2 when they come past, and the gap between the leading 2 cars is, well, it's closed right up now. Ben Element, the West Australian, still in front of Brock Clifford, the Queenslander. It could be an interesting last couple of laps. If this guy Element goes up too high, I think Clifford's ready to duck through. Barry Ewell dropped back a little bit off the pace from those fellas. That's the driver in the TE Cortina from Tasmania, from Lilydale, just out of Launceston. And now we've got 1 lap left to go, and it's becoming a real battle between the first 2 cars. Ben Element still holding on in front. Clifford looking for a way through, close the gap. Barry Ewell has closed the gap a little bit too. Now he's going to try and go outside. You'd reckon he had a rear vision mirror then, Ben Element, but they haven't. He moved up just as Clifford went to move up. This will be a drag to the finish out of that Deacon Avenue corner. It's still going to be Element who's led all the way. So it was Ben Element from Brock Clifford and Barry Ewell. And I was getting a bit carried away with the drivers. I've forgotten to write down the numbers there. So Ben Allen was car number 87 on the top. We'll get the official placings for you, of course. Brock Clifford with 46, and Barry Ewell came in 3rd place. Justin will have the official placings for us very shortly. Maybe you want me to do those, Justin?
Do something with the pole position off the start, seeing as they didn't have a brilliant night last night.
The interest will be from the rear of the field, Justin. A couple of guys there need the points.
Okay, well, they've got the start. Calderwood has got the really good jump on him, but Sullivan not going to let him get away with it. Up around the outside in the 36 car, all the way around the outside. What a sail. You've got 3 of them going down the main straight. Paul Salou having a bit of a look at the fence, I think, down the back straight there, Alan. Bit of a crunch and bunch as they go into the corner. Bit slippery there. I think that's Sullivan in 15. He'd be out in front. Calderwood and Jacoby in number 36 still back there fighting it out. Jerry McClure holding down 4th with Peter McCarthy looking up the inside of him right now. The guys down the back having a bit of a race of their own. But the car up the front, the number 15 car, Wayne Sullivan, certainly pulling a lead out now. Ian Calderwood still holding 2nd over Jacoby. McCarthy still looking for a way around on McClure. Back there, Paul Salou slipped back a long way. These guys certainly spreading themselves out now. McCarthy looking for a way up the inside of McClure. No, can't quite do it. Sullivan certainly got a big lead on out the front. Jacoby looking for a way through on Calderwood now as they go back down into the pit turn. Doing a brilliant job to hold him off. And he's backed off a fair bit now. I don't know if he got into trouble over that side of the track or not, but Ian Calderwood got in a bit of a break now. Wayne Sullivan a mile out in front of these other cars. And they're still having a pretty hot battle back up at the back of the field for a few spots. Paul Salou slipped back another spot, I think, there, Alan. Right down the back. These guys still having a little bit of a problem with the pit turn. That'll be Paul Salou up high on the fence again, losing a few more places. Well, you look at this. We've got Calderwood and Jacoby having a good tussle as he finally got the place out of him. As they head round again, we've still got the number 15 car, Wayne Sullivan, out the front. Jacoby's moved up into 2nd place, putting Ian Calderwood back into 3rd.
I think Spider McCarthy's dropped another spot.
Spider has dropped another spot, and that'll be to the car of Jordan, Stevie Jordan, moving up there on Spider McCarthy. Now looking for a way through on McClure, and I think he'll do it coming out of this turn. The 3 front cars certainly got their own bit of racing space, Alan. I think that may be how they will finish by the look of it, with 5 laps to go. And as those 3 come into the corner now, McClure leading him as he comes through on Steve Jordan, with Spider McCarthy still at the back there looking for another run to make a move. These 2 guys out in front are certainly a long way from the rest of the pack. And a bit of action with Andrew Blackwell there, having a bit of a look at the fence, and come back to the main action where we've still got these 3 cars holding their positions, McClure, Jordan and McCarthy. And the big move now as Jordan passes McClure. McCarthy still around the back there, and the guy Blackwell car of Blackwell's still having a few problems down in that corner. These two guys out in front are certainly leaving the rest for dust. That'll be Wayne Sullivan up there. We've got one nearly all the way around. Takes a bit of a shortcut across the infield. That'll be Jacoby. And Calderwood still holding third down. And the three cars are still down there with the 82 car of Steve Jordan just out in front of McClure, looking for a way underneath Calderwood, who had a problem there in the pit turn. Now McClure's going through underneath the number 13 car of Calderwood. 1 lap left to go as the leaders come across the line. These guys certainly fighting it out. McCarthy looking for a way through on Calderwood now as they come down the front straight. Up high, down low, doesn't know which way to go. These guys certainly holding it together, and as they'll come across the line now, that'll be Wayne Sullivan in first.
Jacoby second.
Yeah, Jacoby in second. Thanks, Alan.
And 22, almost third, I think, Jordan.
No, yeah, Steve Jordan.
A couple of cars.
The 82 roof number will be in third place, I think, Alan.
And a couple of cars and pieces hanging off the back.
And Muldy would run around the back there with a few pieces hanging off the back of the car.
What's interesting about that race, have a look at those three cars that came in the last three positions. I think Craig Garlick. Yes, he did do very well last night, and Paul was hoping that from this particular heat he would finish well tonight. His next heat he's going to start from a long way back. They're ready to go. Keep an eye on Paul Sheen in the Falcon on the inside there. As the flag goes, the lights are on. He's got a great start as Deckett, the Horsham driver, dropped down behind him. Darren Allen in all sorts of trouble there. He seemed to hold up the field and then move left, and he's having a clash with the scorpion. Just watch out that scorpion doesn't fight there, Darren. You might be in all sorts of trouble. Now he's got the car going up into third place. And it's Paul Sheen out in front with Deckett right on his tail. Darren Allen, the other local guy behind him. Number 75 coming around there is Steve Downs. Where's Brims? He's a little way back. And so is the Victoria number 1, Sparks, coming out there. I don't know if that was from the fence. Stephen Laidlaw, but he's got a long way to go to catch up with these leading cars through the Deacon Avenue corner. We've got Paul Sheen not throwing the car around quite as much. Oh, a lot of sparks coming out of Laidlaw's car from under the front end somewhere, so I think he's got a big problem. That car will be very, very unlikely to finish the heat, I would say. 10 laps left to go. Paul Sheen out in front. And who was it in second place? Darren Allen a little further back, and I've lost the guy. Mark Deckett, of course, it was from Horsham. Took my eye off him for too long. The sparks still coming out of that other car. Sheeny back to the pole line from Deckett. Car number 75 is Steve Downs. It's Jolly a little bit further back. It's, I don't think it's a fire, Sean. I think it's just sparks coming up. Okay, is it? It looks more like sparks than an actual fire coming out, but maybe they may have to look closely. We've got trouble. He's going to have more front-end trouble than sparks anyway. And somebody ran in and said they thought it was a fire, but I don't think it's actually a fire. They're like big sparks. Now, he'll be starting to have some trouble with handling or steering or something there. So the battle with the locals for the minor placings at the moment. Green flags are held aloft. They will be waved, and waved vigorously as the guys get going. Downs in front of Jolly from Sheen and Allen. Brims around the outside of Brown, trying to pick up some early placing changes there, and he's going to pick up a couple. He's gone round the outside of Allen and down on the inside of Sheen. What a move by the ex-Australian champion. He's now up into third position as they come through the Deacon Avenue end of the track. And he's got these two guys in front in his sights now. The two Mildura drivers back in fourth and fifth, and still some quick cars back there at the rear of the field, so it will be interesting. Keep an eye on the first three cars. We haven't raced yet. We've got 7 laps left to go. I didn't think we were that far into the race. As they come across, should drop to 6, and Brims trying to pick up the second place from Jolly with the 22 on the side of the car. I think 24 on the top. There goes Brims now. He'd like another move like the one a couple of laps ago down that side, picking up a couple of placings on the two Mildura drivers in the one hit. Downs out fairly wide, is he? Not going too badly there, Steve Downs. Jolly still in second place. Brims in third. Paul Sheen, then Darren Allen. Oh, Gary Brown in a little bit of trouble there, and a couple of cars right on his tail as I think it was Ashley Parkinson pulled out before. We'll pick up those cars. Was that Parkinson down there? I wasn't looking at the... Oh, big bang. I was going to say almost, but we got it. And who was that car? 32. No, Parkinson's there, and so is Christie. I wasn't watching those tail enders, but...
I think that was Jolly come back down on the car behind him, Alan.
Yeah, one of them got very sideways down the straight with the cars that are still in the field. And it's Steve Downs and car number 75 out in front from Lismore and the VL Commodore from Jason Jolly also from that way. So these guys will race each other. And Grims, in fact, they're all from up in that area at least, maybe not all from Lismore, but certainly all from the surrounding northern New South Wales area through the Deacon Avenue corner. There's a good battle. Will they get through it this time? No touches there. Downs out in front of Jolly. Oh, Brims nearly forcing the way through. In fact, he did a little bit of that last night, and it was round about the time that car from Western Australia went over too. Brims is up into second place. He's now out after Downs. Wants to pick up that first placing. He knows he needs the points. He's running about 22nd after the first night's racing. He's going to close the gap. Paul Sheen's still doing pretty well in the Falcon. A little further back. Where's Darren Allen? No, Darren's dropped back to the rear of the field now. You can see how he got back there. Have a look at Brims down the back straight on the inside of Downs. And Downs kept the foot flat just a little bit longer. Might have gone a little bit too hard into the corner. It'll be a race coming out of the corner and a smash, and it'll be a fence here for Downs. He's going to drop a... Oh, and he'll get Jolly. Almost, yes, he's determined. He'll get in. And it wasn't his fault. He just couldn't control that car after coming off the fence. Now it's a drag down the back straight as Gary Brown pulls off in front of us into the Deacon Avenue corner. This is where he got into trouble last time. Brims has taken out the checkered flag in number 72, and will be car number 24 there, then 75 just in front. Torian and Kearney Thompson, sorry, that's the first time I've slipped up on that one all weekend. And a West Australian in Paul Briggs. They are from all over the place. And that car on the outside does seem pretty quick. Williams, it's a TE Cortina, and they seem to go fairly well here. But Bob Walling came out of that better. He's in front. Oh, and he's got the Cortina on his tail. It's flying. And a battle going on back there. Kearney Thompson trying to go around the outside. Let's have a look at these first two guys until they sort themselves out. The number 33 car, Bob Walling doing okay, but Williams having some trouble with the fence, and he's dropped back a few car lengths now. A lot of interest a little further back, and I think this guy from Tasmania, Williams, is going to lose a couple of placings. Nick Dotting has dropped back a little bit, and Kearney Thompson back there. Who is it in third place at the moment? It's Egan, of course, in 47. He was Australia number 2, about 3 title meetings ago. He's in third place. He wants to get past the Tasmanian. Will he do it this time? Up high, I used to say past the Swamp Cafe, and they took it away from me, so I've lost that point. Through the Deacon Avenue corner on the inside, it's a great battle there. The TE Cortina on the outside, number 97, Craig Williams from Tasmania, with the ACT car of Paul Egan on the inside of him, and that ACT car is an EB Falcon. He's dropped back a little bit now. The South Australian Dotting, and they call him Dodson, Dotting a little further back, and Kearney Thompson from Bendigo's a bit further back behind him. Bob Walling will be loving this. He's a mile out in front. He's raced here a few times and had mixed success, but certainly in other places Bob Walling has had a lot of success. He's got the Commodore flying now out of the Deacon Avenue corner. That track's looking pretty good. It's sailing along. It's a beautifully prepared car, as both of them are. Williams behind him, and Egan doesn't seem to be able to close that gap. Dotting a little further back, Kearney Thompson, then Paul Briggs from Western Australia, and Rod Smith in the number 8 car from Victoria. Well, they've spread themselves out over half a lap now, and Bob Walling well out in front. He'll be looking pretty happy for a win here with 6 laps left to go. We may get a change in the second placing as that third car of Egan closes a gap. And have a look down the back straight. It's where you can check the power out, and the Cortina in fact drawing away, then backs off fairly quickly while Egan closes the gap. He's looking for a mistake from the car of Williams. In front is Egan. He'll try and go around the outside. The laps are running down. They'll look at the inside, then they'll look at the outside, and when it gets to 1 lap left to go, they get desperate and they might go straight through the middle, and that's when we get the interest. Usually that last lap of a close race. What happened then? Bob Walling a little bit of trouble coming out of the Deacon Avenue corner, but he's got enough room to make up for that. Egan still trying to pick up that place with I think 4 laps left to go. I've got a couple of poles between me and the lap counter. It's a very handy gadget up there with the lights on. Into the Deacon Avenue corner again. This time Egan floored it into the corner. He caught right up with Williams but couldn't get through. Williams still holding down the second placing. That's Craig Williams from Tasmania and the car from the ACT. Then Paul Egan has dropped back a little bit now. He doesn't handle the pit corner quite as well as the Deacon Avenue corner. Kearney Thompson going past now with
Rod Smith a little bit further back, Paul Briggs, and Briggs is going to be lapped by the leading car if he's not careful, because Bob Walling is going so well with a couple of laps left to go. He's right onto the tail of the West Australian, and I don't think the others have got any show of catching him unless he gets into trouble on the last lap getting past this car. He will get the overtaking flag and know that he's got to hold his line as the old fella Bob Walling slid through underneath. He's a great ambassador for modified production racing, and he's going to take out a heat win here. Hopefully he will take out a heat win for him. He's down to the last lap. That second car is a fair way behind him, so it will be car number 33, Bob Walling, in second place. It's a bit hard to tell actually who was second place there. They got through a couple.
Cars, a couple out, so who we got? Marty Rounds down on the inside, and not sure just who the other one is. We will get a start this time. They're away, and that car on the outside pole really did hang back a fair way and allow Cockrell to get a pretty good start. He's got a great start, and there's a traffic jam going past the pit gate. We will sort them out shortly. Pagel's in there with them. Ed Pearson, I think, is running second at the moment. The car of Thompson, where's he? He's a real hard charger. That's Ferguson down in there. Thompson's back at the rear of the field. In the meantime, Cockrell well out in front, and it's a couple of busy cars, Millie. Pearson and Gary Pagel with Millsy moving up now into third place. Trevor Mills is, yes, he's in third place. He's going to try to run down Pagel now. That's Gary Pagel in front of him, and Darren Cockerell from Geelong is well out in front. The other car's not coming too far off the pace. There's some pretty quick cars there. Where is Greg Walling? We'll try to pick him up as he comes past, but it's still Cockerell out in front of Pagel, Millsy. Oh, we got trouble. There's Walling trying to slip through on Jacobson and Pearson, and there goes Thompson sliding through on the around the outside of Ferguson. Maybe it was Ferguson there before that I thought was the other Thompson car. But some real action going on with Thompson down the back straight. Still all the leading car a mile in front. In fact, the three cars out in front have got big leads. Now the Australian number one car there in Greg Walling isn't doing too badly, because he's got himself up in fourth place. If he can finish fourth or better in the heat that he started from the rear of the field, he'll be pretty happy with himself. 7 laps left to go. It's still Darren Cockrell out in front from Gary Pagel. Trevor Mills in third place. He's got Walling right on his tail, has Mills. We might have a change here. They go up high on the back straight. Watch Walling dive down to try and get through Mills. I didn't think he was going to try all that hard in this race. I think maybe now I was wrong. He'll try and get through on the inside of Mills as the cheer squad of the Mills as people start biting their nails down on the fence. But Mills, he did all right past the pit gate. He's opened up a little bit more of a lead. Walling still on his tail. Walling senses he can do better than a fourth place. He's not going to give it up. Still Darren Cockerell out in front of Gary Pagel, Trevor Mills, Greg Walling, Peter Jacobson at 76, Thompson, Stephen Thompson is Ed Pearson, and 95. That was the car that started at the front, Chris Matthews, and Ferguson right back at the rear of the field. All spread out pretty well now, no real challenges going on. I can't work out whether Pagel's closing the gap. I think he may have closed it up a little bit. Mills is pretty happy. He's got Walling off his tail now with 4 laps left to go. Past the pit gate. Millsy doing fairly well. Walling gone up high, washed off a bit of speed. Peter Jacobson a long way off the pace in this particular heat. He's back in 5th place. He's an ex-Australian champion. And look at Thompson flying up onto Jacobson through the Deakin Avenue corner. The little Cortoon is absolutely flying. No changes with the first 4. But watch these 2 guys going into the pit corner now. On the inside, it's Thompson, and he got through on Jacobson. The car behind, I think, is Pearson, isn't smoking like a Billio as it went through the corner. And Ferguson wants to have a bit of a battle of his own back at the rear of the field as well. Now we've got some closing up here. These are the tail enders coming through. Where's our leading car around the Deakin Avenue corner at the moment? There's a bit of excitement at the rear of the field. 1 lap left to go, and Cockrell has got Pagel certainly closed the gap now. Pagel in second place, Mills and Greg Walling a little further back, and Darren Cockrell will hold off that car of Pagel from Gympie in Queensland. 1 corner left to go. He's going to try Pagel to pick up the placing. I don't think he'll do
Stewart, Darren Cockrell in car number 11 from 65. Pagel, number 10, Millsy in third place. He'll be happy. Australia. So we've got a great field of cars there. You've been watching them all weekend, and you wait till you see this race. If you haven't sat through a 40-lap final before, the people who are probably most nervous at the moment will be the lap scorers, because they've got one of the biggest jobs going to make sure that when the cars start to overtake and lap the slower cars, they've got to keep all of that in mind, and if there's a stoppage, of course, they've got to get them back in the right way. So it looks, we've had the Australian Street Stock title in my time up in the box, also the Australian Hot Rod title, numerous state titles, and we've had some pretty big events. We've had the World Series Sprint cars here 3 times, and the only thing that knocked our crowd around a little bit tonight, of course, was that rain that we got earlier. There's no rain down there tonight. There are no excuses. The track is in great condition. Just don't get onto the infield, because I think you might get bogged, fellas. It looks a little slushy down there. There is a concrete pole line hidden under there. Give them a roar when they're ready to start. It looks like another lap yet at least, when they're starting a long way back on his home track. He's running some pretty big meetings. He's been up as high as Australia too. The flags are raised above the heads. There are 40 laps to go in the final of the Australian title for the modified production sedans. All the officials now thinking, well, it's been worthwhile. It's a late night, but we're going to get that final that we've been waiting for, and the consolation final will go. The flags are down and they're away. That's Walling straight to the lead from Chris Waters. Wayne Sullivan behind him trying to move up as well. Chris Waters in the Falcons back on the inside of Walling. Waters is in trouble already, and what a blow. The race, it may be a complete restart. And we have a start to take 2, and it's Pagel who got the good start. Look at the 2 guys right behind them. Cockrell in car number 11, Wayne Sullivan right there. They're going to get a little bit further than they did last time. You've got to watch the whole field as they go through to make sure that they all get through that corner. Things going pretty well. Keep an eye on Chris Waters at the back of the field. He'll be determined to make up a few positions. Pagel, Walling, Cockerell, Wayne Sullivan. Didn't think that was Stage 2 car of Steve Jordan that went wide around the outside, and inside him is Brims. Trevor Mills just behind there. It's going to, a couple of cars going up to the fence. That's Brock Clifford and Peter Jacobson. Jacobson got a smack from the car coming through, which was Chris Waters. Jacobson was just dropping down back to the pole line. I don't think it was any fault of either of the drivers that side. Pagel has opened up a nice lead now, about a car length separating himself from Greg Walling, the current Australian number 1. Darren Cockrell a little further back, 15, Wayne Sullivan from Leeton, then it's Ian Brims, then Jordan, then Trevor Mills in the number 10 car. Can't think who the one is just behind them. And where's Bob Walling? He's up in there too, the next car back through the Deakin Avenue corner. They've spread out. It won't be too long before they start to lap each other. The car I didn't pick before was 47, Paul Egan from the ACT. He's followed by Bob Walling from Lismore, and then Wayne Blackwell, the guy who did pretty well on the bowl shuffle. Neil Watson a little further behind him. Then I think it's Ben Element, the car from Western Australia. Brock Clifford, the Queenslander, behind him. Max Carlin and the TE Cortina will go back to the leaders, because they're getting to that point of the track where I can't see them very well. The leaders open up now for the Pagel car. Gary Pagel, Greg Walling, the current Australian number 1, still running second through the Deakin Avenue end of the track, and they've all sorted themselves out fairly well. Darren Cockrell in third place, Wayne Sullivan, Ian Brims, it's Steve Jordan, Trevor Mills, and Egan a little further behind Bob Walling, a little further back there, and then it's Wayne Blackwell, Neil Watson, Ben Element, Brock Clifford, Max Carlin further behind, Chris Waters up behind those cars. What Chris will hope for in a little while is probably a couple of restarts as the second car. Walling, what have we got left? About 33 laps. Walling closing the gap on Pagel out in front past the Coca-Cola signs. There's not much separating the 2 cars. Bob Walling looking for a pass through on the inside, and he's almost going to get there. Pagel with the big number 5 on the outside, still hanging on. They're going to have to start lapping cars. I think that's Jason McKinnell they're going to come up to first. Down the back straight, it's Walling in second place from Gary Pagel out there in first place. Pagel from Gympie in Queensland, Walling from Lismore in New South Wales. The Geelong driver Darren Cockrell in 11, the fella from Leeton, Wayne Sullivan in car number 15. There's a bit of a gap then to the others. There's one right off the tail of Sullivan, which I missed coming around that time. That'll be Brims, of course. I can see Millsy a little further back. one car. That's the car being passed that's gone up high. No changes down there, and nobody lapping any other cars. Steve Jordan from Roma in Queensland in the TE Cortina right up there with him. He's not out of it. The leading car's doing fairly well. The first three have broken away from the rest of the field now. It's Gary Pagel in car number 65 out in front of the Australia one. Greg Walling, Darren Cockrell a little further back from Wayne Sullivan, Leeton, and Ian Grims is trying to close the gap. We've lost one. It looks like Cockrell's in trouble. The number 11 car has pulled up high on the track. He's already dropped 2 positions. Now he's back down on the pole line. It couldn't have been too serious. Just lost power there for a little while, but it lost him a couple of positions. In the third and fourth place, Kenneth Sullivan and Grims still battling out there. There's a very close race going on for those minor placings. Pagel, who has led all the way so far, still out in front. He'll be glad to see that Waters wasn't in front of him when he had to take off the next time. Greg Walling in position 2 at this stage. Ian Grims, who's an ex-Australia one, has gone through on Wayne Sullivan, now the leading driver, so Sullivan has been relegated back to 4th place. Cockerell, who lost a couple of places earlier, he's back in 5th. He's followed by Steve Jordan in car number 82, then Trevor Mills, Paul Egan, Bob Walling. Is that Ben Element up there along the way back to Watson, Wayne Blackwell, Brock Clifford, Max Carlin, Chris Waters up there with him, Peter Jacobson a little further back, and Spider McCarthy, I haven't called at all, he's back there, and Chris Waters has in fact picked up and passed Spider McCarthy. Now that we're going to start to pass a few of the slower cars with about 25 laps to go, is when we'll have to watch them closely. That's the leading car coming fast now, number 65, Pagel, Gary Pagel from Greg Walling, 76 on the side. Here's Grims, we've got a stoppage and a bingle down beside the pit gate.
Perhaps lap 16 actually, because that was the stoppage. And they will pick up speed coming out of the Deacon Avenue corner. The flags are being waved, and Pagel leaps to the lead. In fact, Pagel and Walling went side by side, and the few wheels started to lift on the inside. On the inside of Cockrell looking to make up a position. Still Gary Pagel coming around, and he hasn't got very much on Walling. Pagel in the VP Commodore, and Walling right on the tail of him in the VR Commodore. Just behind him then it's Ian Grims, who's had a pretty good weekend, and he's in the VN Commodore, so his whole people will be pretty happy. Number 15 Sullivan from Legion is right up there with him. Also the Queensland driver Jordan from Roma in Queensland. Millsy, there's a bit of a gap there, mate. You'd better fill that gap. We've got the first 5 cars in the Indian file very, very close together as Jordan trying to move up on the inside of the New South Wales driver in Wayne Sullivan. Couldn't quite get through. Mills has closed the gap a little bit now. Only one car really dropping back off the pace, and that's Jason McKinnell right back at the rear of the field. The first 2 guys having a dice down the back straight. It could be a drag. Walling has decided it's time to make a move, and there's a touch of the brakes by both of them. It's a matter of just who touches the brakes. Walling's going to force his way through. Oh, he had the nose in front. It's a drag down the main straight for the first position in the Australian title final. Then it's Pagel back on the inside. Another nudge from that side. Jacobson has pulled out into the Deacon Avenue corner, and Walling is going to hang on to that first place for the time being. Pagel will be back onto him. Grimsey just behind Sullivan, Jordan, Mills, Darren Cockerell, Egan, Walling, 87 is Element, the only West Australian car in the final. Neil Watson further back, Wayne Blackwell, Chris Waters up there, and Spider McCarthy. The 2 Mildura cars running almost side by side. We might have a move now on Pagel for second place. He led the race for about 15 or 16 laps, maybe a little bit more. He's been overtaken for first, and now Ian Grims is going to try and take that second place off him into the Deacon Avenue corner again, and Millsy certainly has closed up the gap now. No, it hasn't. Millsy a little further back. That's Jordan in there. Millsy running by himself. He's looking for Sullivan. He's got Sullivan in his sights. He's shaken Egan. Egan's a fair way back now with Bob Walling even further back behind him. The car starting to bump a bit. McCarthy and Waters trying to work their way through the field. Can they get through there? There goes our leading car, Bob Walling, and this guy's been going pretty well all weekend, apart from the time he hit the fence. He's opened up a big lead over those other guys now. Let's hope McKinnell stays out of the way. It's a drag down the back straight between the second and third cars, and the outside car of Pagel with a bit of smoke coming out of the car in front of Grims, the Roma driver there. Steve Parsons back a little further. Wayne Sullivan behind him. More and more smoke coming out of the Pagel car as they go past that car of McKinnell once again. Greg Walling, the Australian champion, the current Australian champion. Wouldn't he be
2 years in a row. A big lead on the others. The real battle is on for the minor placings, with Pagel just managing to hold Brims back. Two very experienced drivers there as we see one car pick up another placing. Not sure who it was. It looked like the Jacobson car, but I thought he pulled out. And I think that's Bob Walling who's pulled onto the infield now. It's a little bit difficult to keep up with the guys who are pulling out. Pagel in second place still, and Brims in third. Wayne Sullivan, then Steve Jordan, Trevor Mills, and who is that? That was Egan, of course, a little bit further back. And I won't worry about the others. I thought that was a slower car coming around there. That smoke would be a little bit of a worry if Gary Pagel knew that it was there. So Sullivan, after Sullivan we had Mills, that car pulling right out. Then we had Egan, and the next car is McKinnell, which is way down. And then we've got Cockrell and Alamet, but Alamet just in front of Cockrell. And back with the leaders, here he comes down to fast. Oh, another one dropped out there, 82, and he's pulled off. That's Jordan, he's dropped out of contention. So let's be back to the leading place getters. It's Greg Walling on the other side of the track. In second place still is Gary Pagel, followed by Ian Brims, and Pagel still smoking. In fourth place it's Wayne Sullivan from Leeton. Back in fifth it's Trevor Mills, the number 10 car from Corowa. A little further behind him it's a 47 car from the ACT of Paul Egan. Then we go back to Darren Cockerell, the Geelong driver from the West Australian 87. Ben Element just being passed by a Victorian and Wayne Blackwell. Neil Watson, another Victorian right on his hammer, and Chris Waters a little further back. And we won't worry about them because the leading cars have already gone past again. In fact, Walling was about to pass the cars that I was talking about. Greg Walling going into the Deakin Avenue end of the track. This is where the trouble can occur. He's actually lapping Spider McCarthy. Now, how many times does Spider McCarthy get lapped on this track here? His home track, the Timmis Speedway in Mildura. Walling can't quite get through. Spider would hate the thought of being lapped and having to allow that lapping car to come through. Chris Waters in the middle of a sandwich there. It's still Walling. In second place is Pagel, then Brims, then Sullivan. They're fairly clear. They're not up to those lapping cars yet. Then it's number 10 is Mills. We must be down in the laps. Is it only 7 to go? Is that right? 7 laps to go. Only one stoppage. Then it's Darren Cockrell. Chris Waters is moving up through the field. He's not going to have enough laps. One of the blue cars brought outside of Element of Wayne Blackwell. And we've got to find, there's Millsy coming past. It's Ben Element from Western Australia. And I'll find Walling again because I've lost him. I think he's down the far side. There's some of the minor place getters going past now. It's been a hectic race. There's Walling right in the middle of it all. And Pagel still in second place for me and Brims. Wayne Sullivan in third. Millsy in fourth. Then we've got Egan. But let's have a look at how the leading cars get through on the cars at the tail end of the track. In the Deakin Avenue corner now, look what's happened here. Walling has been caught up behind those cars. He's about to lap, and he's got the other two guys right on his hammer, with Wayne Sullivan not far behind. Greg Walling now is having the move put on him by Pagel as one car just got out of the way in time. Pagel wants that first place back into the Deakin Avenue turn. The smoke coming out of the car. Pagel got a little bit untidy. I think somebody's just blown a motor. That's Sullivan. The car has gone. Wayne Sullivan, it's your heart out. It's his smoking everywhere. So that's one of the top contenders dropped out. That motor will be a mess. Only 3 laps left to go. Where are the leaders? And the yellow light is on. Well, that will give me a little bit of a chance. Wayne Sullivan, with 3 laps to go, has popped the motor good and proper. Just 11 cars left in the final. 3 laps left to go. It will be a hectic 3 laps. Don't worry about the tail enders. Just keep your eye on all the cars and about the first 4 or 5. Into the first corner. This is where Walling's biggest danger is. One of these guys who got the jump on him. Greg Walling's got through that all right. Pagel's decided it's time to make a move up on the outside, and a nudge by Brims. Is he going to be in trouble? I told you to watch for the excitement. Pagel will be annoyed because he made the running on the outside. He actually got the nose in front. Brims tried to go on the inside at the same time. A little bit of a nudge into the back of the Australia one. And I think Ian Brims's chances of winning the final might be gone. Brims, they're bunching up already back there at the rear of the field. There goes the flag. Is Pagel going to make... Oh, he's right into it this time, and he's leapt to the lead. Millsy going around the outside at the same time. Come on, fellas. My voice has got to last another. What's happened? Walling has done it. He's blown it. He's dropped back. He's caught in a swamp. He's sandwiched back there. That's not Chris Waters, in fact, up into third place, is it? We've got Pagel in front. Trevor Mills, Chris Waters in third place. Paul Egan, Darren Cockrell, Spider McCarthy in there as well. Wayne Blackwell. What's happened to them? I lost Greg Walling. And we've got another stoppage. Greg Walling's a mile back. Well, this will be interesting to see where they start. Boy, are there some excited people around the track now. You're going to get some pretty big dashes in these next 2 laps. When they have a restart, there has to be 2 laps. They're saying 1 to go. Only 1 lap, is it? A 1-lap dash. So Pagel out in front. Milsey in second place. Chris Waters is going to go for it in the Pennzoil Falcon. Chris Waters up high. He's looking for a second place, and there'll be another stoppage. Well, there's a couple of cars locked up on the other side. Are they going to finish it now? Now they're showing the one. Yes, the yellow light is back on again with those 2 cars on the other side of the track. That's Darren Cockerell on the inside, and I think it's Egan on the other side. Trevor Mills from Corowa is right on the tail. He's not going to give an inch here. He'll try and go up the inside or the outside. The flag is gone. There's a bit of a bump coming out of the corner. They're going to get into the first corner okay. Oh, Waters right on the tail of Mills. He's looking for a way through. Boy, they're throwing the cars around down the back straight. Millsy doing all right in second. Pagel actually got out in front quite comfortably. It'll be 1 lap left to go, and they come past this time. A couple of cars dropping out. Millsy hanging on for second place. 1 lap left to go in the Australian title. It's Greg Pagel down the back straight. He's got good lead now. He should win the title. In second place, it's Trevor Mills in car number 10. Chris Waters in third place. You're going to do pretty well, Chris, but there we go with Pagel, Mills, Waters, Cockerell, and 25, Wayne Blackwell. So Gary Pagel in car 65 from the car number 10 of Millsy. What a fantastic race. And I didn't even see the first one go. I heard the bang down there from Bob's Rockets. And in third place, Chris Waters, after being put rear of field. Millsy is pretty happy about it, coming in second. Pagel is extremely happy about coming in first. Chris Waters probably disappointed, but he came in third after coming from the rear of the field. He had 19 other cars to get past. He got past 17 of them. Wasn't quite able to make it. Perhaps a couple more stoppages. He might have got there. The number 17 car will be happy. Craig Williams actually finished the final, which is probably a little better than I can say for myself. So Chris Waters out of the car. Gary Pagel will be coming around there now in car 65. He already holds the Queensland and the New South Wales titles. Now the Australian title, the VP Commodore from Gympie in Queensland. It's been a big weekend for him. It's been a pretty big weekend for all of us.
Gary Pagel.
Go!
Congratulations, Gary. Through there. You drove well.
Well done, Gary. Nice job.
I don't know what to say. I've been waiting for a long time for this. One of the guys in my crew has been with me ever since I started. I think it's as much his as it is mine. Without his all his help over 25 years or whatever it's been, we wouldn't be here. There's a lot of people, my family and friends, and I suppose we just can't name everybody, but some of them can't be here to share it with us, especially Father. He's a bit sick at the moment, and he's going to be over the moon when we tell him. And people would just love to share it with us. And the sponsors, Mildura from Gympie, the Holland dealers up there, Trevor from Trackwell, and Trevor and Leslie from Trackwell, Mel, and he's a painter, and does a pretty good job. And Billy Cross, and Jeff, and the other guys in the crew. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Gary. Put your hands together for a great drive. Just before we finish, from the ASDF, we'd like to just once again thank Malcolm and all his crew here for a great track. After all the rain and all the mess we went through tonight, I think all the perseverance paid off in the end.
Speedway Drivers Club, I would like to congratulate all of the 4 successful winners, plus all of the people the drivers who made it to the title, and all of the drivers who travelled from all over Australia, whether it was Queensland, Western Australia, South Australia. Just like to congratulate all of them and just thank them, and thank the ASCF for running this final. Sorry about the night, but we'll see you next year.
Thanks, Royston. I think the guys have finished down there now. Is Robbie Hudson from Balloons Alive continues on with his display of pyro thinking.